Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Racers Driving League. Welcome to Season 20, Round 9 for the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're paying attention to the weather, the heavens have well and truly opened. I'm your host, Zach RC, here to take you through a very rainy qualifying. Alongside me, as always, is my co-commentator, Ben. Ben, yeah, we're in for a time. This is going to be, at the very least, not an amusing qualifying session, but it's something different. We haven't actually seen much rain all season, have we?
No, as far as I'm aware, I don't think we've seen a single bit of rain.
Right, so
I may be wrong with that, but I don't think we've seen any.
It'll be interesting to see how these guys handle the different conditions, especially at a circuit that's used to being traditionally a dry race. I mean, obviously, this is our third full-length Grand Prix of the season. Obviously, the last one we missed in Jeddah, unfortunately, because obviously you weren't here and I had my technical dramas. But we are back on here, and hopefully it should be an exciting 100% Grand Prix. 66 laps coming your way later on this evening, so it should be quite exciting. We're just waiting on the first cars to emerge onto the circuit. One car which we shouldn't be expecting, at least not for the moment, is Che. Che's got a quali ban for his next race after Monaco. Monaco saw a number of changes in the stewards report. Of course, those of you who watched that race will know not controversial, but very chaotic race, to say the very least. For a half-length Grand Prix, we sure got a full Grand Prix worth of carnage that race. And in the end, it ended up being a post-stewards report. Dan was confirmed as the winner, with Grumio second and Imri finally taking home his first Monaco podium in third place. But of course, that was the big talking point last week, Ben. Of course, the contentious collision between Imri and Grumio on that first red flag restart, and we'll be hoping that those two don't go out hammer and tong again in the same manner. But you never really know, do you?
Yeah, it's always a bit up in the air into the water Formula 1. As for the actual track, this looks very tetchy. Very tetchy indeed for those that are out on intermediates. So that's how we're not going to be seeing much of the full wets, as indeed to real life. But let's say it's going to be intense, but it's going to be hard for these drivers to keep it out on the island.
We'll see whose reflexes are up to this very sudden challenge. I think most drivers, if not all the drivers, were anticipating some sort of dry Grand Prix, or at the very least, dry qualifying in that sense. As you say, Ben, yep, no one's going for the wet tyres as of yet. Of course, you saw everyone starting on the wets and switching over to the inters. And with that in mind, we'll have to look into who we think will do well in the Grand Prix this week. Of course, the predictions, I'm still leading the way, if memory serves. In the end, Kurt, who did I have? I had Ethan and you had debutant Huff. Both drivers are in the race this evening, so we can't pick either one of those two. So, Ben, we've got to pick a driver who we think will do well in tonight's race. Is anyone you've got in mind?
I'd probably go to say I think AT will do well tonight.
Okay, right. If you're backing AT in the Haas, then I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna back HB Cook in the Sauber. I mean, he's had a bit of a rocky start, but 8th place last week in Monaco could be enough to try and get him going again. And he did finish in front of AT in last week's final results as well. So that's something to look into later on this evening. I'm not entirely sure, but those are our picks. We'll lock those in. You've got AT, I've got HB Cook, and we'll see who comes out on top in that sense. But for now, though, I have got Daniel on my screen going on his first quali lap. He makes his way out of turn 5 down towards 6. Of course, number of corners on this circuit to keep an eye out for. Obviously, low traction corners such as this chicane here going through turns 7 and 8, and of course the blind right of turn 9. So that second sector can be difficult to navigate, but we'll see who's got the speed for it, especially in this first session. But we can't expect the times to go too quickly here early on, as these wet conditions obviously slowing everyone down by a fair bit. But it should still be interesting, because it's been a while since it's been a wet qualifying in any capacity.
Yeah, it has been, and particularly around there, unfortunately, he's sliding his way through sector 3. Looked really bad going through that long left-hander at the end of sector 2, but it was just all the way through sector 3, so it's 27-1. But as for chat, yeah, it's certainly what we didn't expect.
So Imri went fastest and to kick off that first lap, I believe. I mean, down over the line 127.802. So Imri still looks to be the car to beat quali-wise, but saying that, Grumio's yet to cross the line. He's just starting his first flying lap now, so we'll see where he puts himself. He's always been quite good in the wet, being the jack of all trades that he is on the RDL Tour. But we could see a number of changes in terms of the order, as Pope goes third fastest there, only just behind Dan in second place. Next cars to the line of the two Alpines. Ethan's P4, and it's PJ topping him by almost 1.3 seconds in there, so big gap between the two teammates. Of course, those two running in P7 in the Constructors' Championship, 28 points to their name. Both drivers managed to get into the points last week. PJ with a 6th place finish. One thing I did forget to mention after the stewards report in last week's race, obviously there was the call, Ben, you remember, mid-race for the during the red flags for the tyre changing. The obviously mandatory 2-stop rule in play in Monaco. And the two drivers who got the worst of that were, none of them are actually here at the moment, from what I've got here. But it was Che and Websy, both of them who finished high up in the order. I believe they finished 3rd and 4th. But in the end, as they didn't take both their stops, they only took one stop under the green flag because the red flag stops didn't count, meaning that both drivers were disqualified from the final order. So that's obviously big points lost for the pair of them. Che down to 5th place in the championship, and Websy in P14 as Dan now goes fastest, 126.5. Obviously Dan now riding half of momentum as Grumio goes faster still, 126.3. But I say, we'll keep an eye on Dan, as I feel like with momentum he could be in with a shout to try and go for the win tonight, a circuit he's been good at in the past. But I mean, talking about Che and Websy, those disqualifications not helping their case at all.
No, absolutely not. I think I don't know whether they got the message, as I'm just watching Curtis having a bit of a moment through the tricky chicane of turn 6 and turn 7. But yeah, in terms for Websy and Che, it's massive disappointment for them. Both of them probably, well, I'd say Websy had the better driver out of the two, obviously. Che had to come through the field and ended up getting caught up in a collision, which ended up causing a car park. I think the less said about that, the better. And obviously, he's put that race behind him now, and we'll see if he turns up for this one.
Another driver here at the moment. Alvaro did join us mid-qualifying, so he's also in the order. So we should be seeing 18 cars, and he's the one. He'll be the one McLaren on the grid. Websy has actually got a replacement this evening, so obviously Huff is back on the grid alongside DJ for this week's race. But we are missing. We're missing Ericsson in the other McLaren, and memory serves, I'm trying to remember who else we're missing. But yes, sorry, Che we're missing. So those two off the grid in tonight's race, and obviously one reserve in places. Imri now goes fast. It's 125.9. I saw a big slide from one of the cars there, running P3, P4. TJ into 5th place there. JB in P6. JB looks to be picking things up in these last couple of rounds. Obviously 9th place in last week's race. Perhaps doesn't tell the full story, but he was up there and he was doing a solid job over the course of the evening. So I wonder, perhaps, obviously this is a fresh challenge. We haven't seen JB running the wheel and pedals in these wet conditions yet. But if he can navigate this, I dare say he can navigate anything, Ben.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think JB did pretty well for Monaco. In terms of the actual track layout, obviously kept out the barriers pretty well. Didn't obviously have a spin, didn't accumulate too many penalties as well. JB had a really solid race last time out. We'll see if he can follow up again here in Spain.
Well, just 4 points separating VCARB from their sister team Red Bull, who managed to jump them after last week's race. TJ in the end was credited with P4 and Curtis with P7. So those guys now jumping VCARB by 4. That knocks them down to 6th place. 10th Cannon managed to score a 5th place finish last week in the end, so the good run of form continues for her, despite a bit of a poor qualifying by her standards this season. So it'll be interesting getting to see if that team pairing can continue to be the surprise of the paddock and continue to surpass all expectations. They've scored 60 points on the campaign. Not bad at all here, and definitely a lot better than the VCARB of last season. But obviously, we won't talk about it too much, Ben, as I know you feel a certain way about all that. I've got my eye on Obsessed here, so at its first lap, delete on those intermediate tyres. We are actually halfway through quality. Let's not forget, this is only the one session, because obviously those of you who are unfamiliar with the RDL 100% races, we do a short qualifying session of 18 minutes as opposed to our usual 3-stage qualifying and then a full-length Grand Prix. So only 9 minutes, so not a lot of time for these guys to get back out on track again. We've got 11 of our 17 cars having set times. Alvaro has not actually taken the circuit just yet. I don't believe he's taken control of his car, so you have to do that at some point. So we should see 18 cars on the board eventually. But yeah, still Huff, Obsessed, HB Cook, Cottony, DJ and 10th, all yet to go out onto the circuit here. As HB Cook coming through the last couple of corners here. So obviously get a sense as to, I mean, you've made a pretty good pick with AT, but I'll see where HB Cook lines himself up to sort of start our predictions off on the right foot here as he rounds the final corner on the circuit, charging up towards the lines, complete his first lap. It will be P6 for HB Cook. So separating the R2 predictions by about 7.5 tenths. So not a ton in it, Ben. So it could be an interesting scrap between these two as they look to fight on track once again.
Yeah, we may have a repeat of what it was like, essentially like in Monaco, where obviously I think I got off and you had Ethan, and they're both fairly close out on track. So we'll see if that follows through to tonight's race. Both HB Cook and AT are fairly close on pace, more so in the race than I'd say in qualifying. But it's not about where you start, it's about where you finish.
That is the key thing. Finishing position is what gets you all of the points. This isn't Formula 2, but Lucky Lambert shooting up to P5 there in the charts there. And
Oh,
you can
lucky.
see the wet weather driving can definitely bring out some outliers as Grumio goes a full second faster than Dan there. Oh, no, sorry. But, I mean, Imri quickly slots into second position behind him, but you saw the gap there. 1 second to Dan. Dan's going to need to get his foot down on this next lap and try and match these guys. The circuit looks, I mean, I wouldn't say it's drying up by any capacity, but the times are still falling. But it's 4 seconds separating the top 12 in the order. There were 12 cars with set lap time, so the gap definitely widens a lot more during a wet qualifying session. And we'll see it in the Grand Prix too, should it also continue to rain. But that's the sort of thing we're looking at here tonight, Ben. So whether things can move a lot more spread out than we're used to, I have to wait and see. And obviously, no DRS either in the wet conditions. That'll also play a factor in overtaking as well.
Yeah, depending on what these have chosen for their setups as well, we could see a bit more overtaking down in Stern 1 with a bit more increased downforce. By looks of the actual track itself, we have a bit of a dry line forming online, and then all the standing water is kept offline. So basically, if you go offline, you're in the wall. Try and keep it out of the wall as best you can, but yeah, if you go the slightest bit offline, you can really catch some drivers out.
Do you know what? That's a good rule to follow then. We'll keep that in mind for the last few minutes of this qualifying session. Essentially, keep up the dry line or face the barrier, one of the two. Dan towards the line here to complete his lap, 1:24.5. Only puts him less than half a tenth behind Grumio, 45,000 to be exact. Imri's not improving. He's coming into the pit lane this time, I should think. And he'll be looking at another set of intermediate tyres, run into the pits, put on the fresh tyres, and go for one final run. A message from JB in the Discord chat has put me into a bit of concern. We're not sure actually if it's a wet Grand Prix. It's a wet qualifying. Whether it'll be a wet race is another story here. I mean, personally, I'm a big fan of there being a wet qualifying, sort of shake up the order a little bit, and then make them all fights out in the dry in the race. So obviously, the cream will rise to the crop, or the cream of the crop will rise up to the top of the order, and we'll see how everyone else stacks up. I mean, the gap's still quite big in terms of from first to now 14th place. 10th cannon out on the circuit. We're still waiting on Cottony, DJ, and now Alvar has joined us. So Alvar will be likely heading onto the circuit shortly. Both Red Bulls, they're going down towards turn number 10. One of them backing off. And we saw HV Cook jump up to P7. And I've also seen Huff top to that. So Huff into P5. And again, continuing to impress in qualifying. Of course, he gave us a brief scare and the thought of him racing for pole last week in Monaco. And Ben almost made a very generational pick for his prediction, but I mean, yeah, he's continued on, and I dare say, if he can carry on this form into the Grand Prix, I mean, obviously this is quite a different racetrack to Monaco, Ben. I'm sure you'll agree. But yeah, I mean, I'd say keep an eye out for Huff in the Grand Prix, because if he can keep up pace like this, he could be a real challenger.
Yeah, absolutely. Huff has really stepped into RDL with a proper swinging step, hasn't he? Obviously in Monaco, I believe we lined up 4th. Was running on the podium for the majority of the race. I think something happened towards the latter stage of the race. He got a 10-second time penalty, dropped around the points due to a safety car, I believe. But yeah, Huff's really kicked on really well, and if he wants a full-time seat, then he's definitely got the pace to show it.
PJ into P5 there for Alpine, so dropping Huff back a spot. Lucky still in P7, so doing a fantastic job there. Improved by 888,000. Wait, no. Yeah, 888,000 on his last lap. So big gains there for the Ferrari driver. Curtis going into turn number 9 now. It's currently P10 on the board for Red Bull. His teammate TJ was the car we saw backing off, going back to the pit lane. So we'll see if Curtis can match his teammate, try and bring it in by a tenth or two. And he's up by 3/10 there. So gains are huge in the wet conditions going into the last few minutes. As you say, Ben, the dry line has definitely formed that shadow of a doubt. You can see it on the circuit clear as day, and the rain does be a little bit lighter. I'm not entirely sure it's going to, I shouldn't think it'll stop in time for us to get any dry tyre laps in, so I think this is here to stay these final 4 minutes, but it should be interesting on the last runs to see who can take the risk and who can get themselves up the order on those final laps. As Curtis charges towards the line, it's going to be a 1:25.3. That's enough to come up to P5, so fantastic gains there, and we'll hopefully see those times dropping more and more in these last few minutes.
Yeah, I think the track's ramping up quite a lot, so we'll probably see it towards the last stages, the last few laps where people really start. Zach, I don't want to alarm you. I know Cottony's in the pit lane, but Cottony's on a set of softs.
I have not seen that change yet. I've still gone down as on wet tyres here. I'll keep an eye on that. Should it change on my end, he might have gone to some backs, you never know. But I'll keep an eye out should he head onto the circuit with soft tyres on, because I wouldn't advise that in these conditions. I don't think you would either.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, so we'll keep faith that Cottony knows what he's doing in that sense. He always has done. Obviously, came close to a point score last week in Monaco. He was running P5 before crashing and bring out that final safety car, which obviously shifted the race for a number of drivers in the closing moments. But you see Alvar out on the circuit on his first lap. Okay, so I'm seeing different here. I'm seeing Alvar. My leaderboard still got him on intermediate tyres, but my timing tower's got him on wets, but he's on inters. So I wonder if that's F125 being F125. Not entirely sure, but I'm seeing Cottony emerging now, and he is on a set of intermediate tyres. So he's made the right call in the end. It's very confusing that my game is operating like that. We'll cross into the tyres and come to the everyone's on inters at this stage of quali, and everyone's out for last laps. 10th cannon shot to P4 there. Look at that, Ben. She's into 4th place. And I'll tell you what,
Under radar.
That old spark that 10th had when she first joined this league is coming right back, and perhaps even stronger than it was before. She comes through the last couple of corners here. I should think this is going to be a lap where I tend to the pit lane and call it a day quality-wise. Whether she's going to try and find some more improvements. I'm not sure what she's going for here. Whether she can try and find a lot more time as she heads up towards the line. It's going to be quite tight here. And 10th goes to P2 by 1,000th. Look how close that is.
Right, the track's ramping up. If PJ goes into 24, the track is definitely ramping it up.
Grumio's got a chance here. I mean, he's got one more lap to run. He's got full battery. He had his last lap deleted. He must have made a mistake, so he's backed off and gone for it. As Lucky now shoots to 2nd place. So we could see a very topsy-turvy order should things stay as they are. Should drivers make mistakes on their last laps. But it's under pressure now for the usual front runners like Grumio, Imrie, Dan, Pope. It's going to be interesting this last minute and a half to see who takes pole for this race, because it could truthfully still be anyone. But PJ for now is on top. Next car coming to the line is one of the RBs, from what I've got here. That is JB, currently P16, but charging towards the line now. And JB shoots up to 3rd place. Big gains there. Pope starting his last lap. This is going to be tense, Ben.
Yeah, it will be massively tight towards the end. I think it's Obsessed coming up to the line. Yes, Obsessed is up to the line, up to 10th. Not as much improvement, but still definitely improves nonetheless.
Huff starting his last lap now. The track is definitely drying. The rain is lightened up. It hasn't stopped, but it's lightened. And it's enough now for drivers to be looking at much faster running as we enter the final 40 seconds of qualifying here. Grumio is likely improving. He was up by 4/10 in his first sector. Dan goes fastest. He's up by a second now in his second sector, but needs to find more time than that. He's on a 1:23.5 projected at the moment. He needs about another 6 or 7 tenths to get himself back onto pole position again. And where is Imrie in all this? Imrie is 2.5 seconds down, but I think he's going for one more lap here as PJ retires from the session. He should have enough time to go for one more run should Imrie. Grumio will be charging towards the line in a matter of moments here. He's coming in behind Imrie, who starts his last lap. Checker flags up for Grumio, goes fast. It's 1:22.833, and he's not safe up there, not just yet, because the dry line is still there and it's still contentious. A number of drivers can still do this, but checker flag is now up. So AT go to P11. I've seen Curtis off in the gravel there, going towards turns 27 and 8. So the next vehicle.
Look at JB though.
JB towards the flag. JB goes up to 3rd place. Good run for him. Pope into 3rd. TJ up to 4th place himself. Where is the next car coming through? The next car is Obsessed. Where's he going to put himself? Towards the line. P8 for Obsessed. One of the Aston Martins coming in behind him. Is Tough up to 3rd place there. Good run at the end for him. Cottony Goblin final corner. Where can Cottony put himself? Up the order perhaps. Stay down in P17. Tough break for him. Where is Imrie? He's going towards the line. HP Cooks into P7. Imrie is currently up by 1.8 seconds. Dan goes faster still. 1:22.3. I think Imrie might be on course to try and beat that in these closing moments of qualifying. We're still going to end up with a slightly traditional grid in terms of what we're used to here, but we still may see a number of surprises. 10th into 3rd place. Big gains there. Grumio is currently in 2nd position. He's still improving as well. He's up by 6 tenths. Imrie, he's deleted the last corner. Imrie goes fastest, and Grumio got his lap deleted the final turn. Well. Talk about a turn up for the books. Imrie on pole once again, but that was a dramatic end to qualifying, Ben.
I have no words. That's what I love to see.
The rain brings it all out of everyone. So there it is then. Imrie on pole, Dan 2nd, Grumio 3rd, but behind them it's all chaos. 10th in P4, Huff P5, Alvar, Pope, TJ, JB and HB Cook. That's your top 10. PJ P11, there's Lucky, Obsessed, AT, Curtis, Ethan, Cottony, and DJ. Didn't get a lap in the end, so tough break for him, but we'll see if he can recover it in the Grand Prix. We'll see how things shape up, but it's time for your brief intermission. Back in a moment's time for the start of the race. Welcome back then. Welcome back to the Spanish Grand Prix, Season 20, Round 9 of the Racers Driving League Series, and it should be an exciting race. If you just missed qualifying, you might be disappointed to hear that it's a dry race, but the wet quality has definitely given us a very jumbled up starting order. Looking forward to what should be an exciting race, our third full-length Grand Prix of the season. There's a look at your circuit, the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, hosting the Spanish Grand Prix for what could be the last time under this name, at least for the foreseeable future. It all depends on if we get the Madrid circuit on the 2026 DLC, Ben, but I mean, if it's had a good run as the Spanish Grand Prix, and it could be set to give us one more exciting race in this league based on qualifying. But obviously, dry conditions shake things up a little bit more, and we'll see who emerges on top in what should be a fantastic race.
It should hopefully be with a bit of a mixed-up grid. Obviously, Pope's a bit further down the grid than what we were expecting. I think Pope had an initial good start to qualifying, but I think he may have just lost a bit of time compared to the rest of them as the session wore on. But yeah. Hopefully, we're in for a good race.
Should be a blast indeed. Looking forward to it. I mean, you saw 10th in P4. That'll also be quite exciting to see if she can maintain that. Imri on pole, Dan to his left on the run towards that first corner. One of the longest runs to turn 1 on the Formula 1 calendar. So plenty of time to make mistakes on the race start. It's definitely possible for anyone to emerge from that first corner in the lead. It's quite a tight first turn too. So mostly the track narrows up. Obviously, the pit lane obviously heads into the exit, heads onto the circuit, and things will close back up again. So we'll see here who has the guts to go for it on the run towards that first corner. We'll have a look now at your starting grid for the Grand Prix tonight. So it's DJ starting from dead last, didn't get a lap in qualifying, starts P18 for Aston Martin. He's on the medium tyre for the start. Does different tyre compounds in use. Courtney Goblin on the soft tyre, for example. So obviously, full-length Grand Prix opens us up in terms of strategy. Ethan starts P16 for Alpine after a 10th place finish in last week's race. Curtis lines up in P15 for Red Bull. He's on the medium tyre for his first stint. 80 in P14, that's Ben's prediction for the evening to do well, so he's up against my HB Cook in P10. Obsessed lines up P13, also on the soft tyre for his first stint and looking to recover himself after obviously he didn't start in Monaco, so he's going to get back on the right foot. Lucky Lambert lines up P12, was running up quite high in qualifying for a brief moment until falling away in the closing moments. He lines up in P12. P11 for PJ Khaled in the other Alpine. 6th place for him last week in Monaco. P10 for HB Cook in this race. He's my prediction to do well, so hopefully I'm looking for him to try and beat AT in this one. JB in P9, also looking quite good in qualifying. We'll see if he can carry it on in the race. Medium tyres for him. TJ, same thing. He starts up in the 8th spot, the leading Red Bull on this occasion. Pope in P7 recovered himself, but was a lot higher up in qualifying until his closing moments. He lines up 7th for the start. Alvaro in P6, one of the big surprises on the grid, looking to try and maintain that and score some points for a floundering McLaren so far this season. Haffendo back in P5. Obviously impressed us last night in Monaco as a reserve, going P5 this time once again, and looking to try and get himself a top 10 finish despite not being able to score points. 10th Cannon in P4, a big chance to make good on her good start to the season these first 8 rounds. P4 for her. Grumio P3, soft tyres for him on the start. Should be interested to see what the champion can do as the defending race winner of this circuit. Dan lines up P2 and Imri starts from pole position. Dan obviously last week's winner after the stewards report in Monaco, so his first win of the season last week. As the last few cars taking their spots here, Ben, it should be a good race.
Yep, let's see what the next 66 lap bring us.
Should be very enjoyable as those last 4 cars connect together in a convoy on the way to the grid. Their grid spots are fast approaching. There is DJ lining himself up quite nicely in his. Courtney going to be the last person lined up. We are all set to rock and roll, all set to rumble for 66 laps around Barcelona. Waiting now for those 5 red lights to come on. Here they are. Dan on the front row. Imri to his left on pole position. For the run towards that first corner, it's lights that foot to the floor, and we are racing here in Barcelona. Good start from both cars on the front row going towards turn 1. Grumio going for 2nd place on the outside, 3 wide towards the first corner. There goes the champion, looking for a move into turn 1. Dan falls away. He's side by side with Imri. Keep an eye on these two. Went side by side for the lead in Monaco last week on the restart. Grumio squeezed Imri into the inside wall last time. It's the same thing again as they go through turn 3. It's still even close to contact there. There was contact. Imri slides. Grumio maintains the lead. Imri falling back. Penalty behind. Peter's got a penalty for a severe collision with AT. Imri down into the 8th spot, and once again, Grumio and Imri get too close, and Imri winds up with the worst of it.
Yeah, let's hope Imri doesn't have a repeat of what happened in Monaco with any damage of some sort, or if he does have damage, he can sort it out in the pit lane.
No end plates lost on that car, so I think it's okay. Good thing he's got 65 laps to get back up to the front, but I doubt he'll be too pleased with Grumio, especially after last week's incident early on that red flag restart, but it is now Grumio who leads from Dan, and Huff now into third place. Those soft tire runners working magically on 10th Cannon down to P9. Equally tough start for her. I think she may have got caught up in trying to avoid Imri, so as a result also lost places. There is your position change at the end of the first lap. Imri down 6, 10th down 5. Same thing for PJ and Obsessed. Neither car with damage, but PJ has got that penalty for a collision, so won't help him early on in this Grand Prix. See it 10 seconds to his name. Grumio leads the first lap of this race as Pope makes the pass on Huff going into turn number 1. Dan is giving chase to the champion, and obviously these two were top 2 in the championship last season, going at it Heimer and Tong once again. Alvar in P5, so he's maintained himself off the start, done a fantastic job there. Actually, he's gained 1 place off of Imri, so he's not done too badly at all here. But we'll see how Imri recovers himself later on in the race. But for now, though, it's Grumio and Dan leads by 6/10, and Pope a second back in third place. Want to try and get himself back in DRS range sooner rather than later to avoid losing touch with the two leaders completely. But a chaotic start to that first lap here in Spain, Ben. It should be, oh, yellow flag, and that's Obsessed game around.
Yep, it is indeed. So what we're looking at here, Zach, is obviously the gap is only 7/10. So Grumio hasn't already broken out the 1 second gap, which is notorious to do. Obviously, Max Verstappen takes it back in real life, and then he goes on to dominate the race. This is a slightly different, more interesting situation because obviously Grumio is on the faster tyre, but it looks like Dan's sticking in with him pretty well.
And that should bode well should they swap over to the opposite tyres later on in the Grand Prix. But for now, the DRS is in play. Let's have your telemetry. We're right on board with Dan for the run towards that first corner. Grumio fastest lap there, 1:16.008. Yellow flag again behind him. And that is, I mean, Imri's fallen down the order. DJ's gone around. Imri's down to P15. What's happened to Imri?
He had a bit of a half spin.
It would appear so, yeah. He's down the order even further there, so an individual mistake it seems. We won't say for sure because we don't actually see what happened. But DJ in the pit lane, it's a wing change for the Aston Martin driver early on. A set of hard tires going on. The wing has been changed. That was quite a fast change. So okay, right, so maybe perhaps not. I'm not sure the game's actually playing that tonight. It's quite confusing. But hard tires on for DJ. He's back on the circuit once again, but obviously down the order here in P18, back to where he started and a long way back banking on a safety car of some kind. Obsessed is down the order as well. Same sort of thing there. As I don't believe actually made a change. No, DJ's still on that broken front wing. So whether that was a mistake or not, I'm not too sure. We'll see if he comes back in at next time round. But Dan is still keeping the pressure on Grumio here. He's not overly close just yet. Not close to go for a move at the moment. Huff is back into third place. Alvar maintaining P5 and a TJ in P6 and HP Cook in P7. 7 places up on 18, mind you, Ben. So I think that could be in the good once again this week. There's obviously a long way to go.
It's not what either.
It's not ideal for your guys so far. But I mean, obviously, AT's a strong driver. We'll see him likely recover himself later on in the Grand Prix. Some of those soft tyres, like a number of the front runners are. We've got 7 drivers on soft tyres to the start of this race. As Imri now pitting, and it's been a tough start to the Grand Prix for him. We'll see if he can recover himself later on. Whether this needs to be damaged in this case, not entirely sure what's going on. I mean, obviously, Imri second in the championship going into this race, but 67 points back from Grumio. Dan is now third in the standings. He is 79 points back. So only 12 points covering second and third. So it could be a big gain for Dan if things work out nicely for him.
Same way.
Hard tyres going on. And Dan is putting the pressure on. Huff still in third place there. Pope still fourth. Alvar still fifth. So Alvar and TJ keeping with this train here. Behind them, 10th Cannon still in P8, but on the tail of HP Cook. Lucky still in P9. JB in P10. Courtney Goblin running P12 here. So he's made good in his race started up 5 places in that Ferrari. He's always run well at the circuit, if memory serves. Yeah, it should be exciting. I mean, Courtney seemed to come alive in Monaco last week. Obviously, he took advantage of the situation he was placed in. And we'll see if he can do the same thing here. It's going to be good to keep an eye on it. DJ's also in another set of soft tyres, so I guess he must have made that wing change after all then. So DJ and Imri, we wish him for better starts. Same things for Obsessed and PJ, but the top 14 still carrying on as they were. And onto lap 5, this race, Dan might go for a move here towards turn 1. He's closing in, but I think he's not closing enough. He's harvesting his DRS. As Pope challenges to Huff into turn 1. Huff makes the pass. 10th Cannon, same thing. The inside HP Cook going towards that first corner. So overtaking, obviously, peak position is going towards that first corner. It will be the chasing car in that sense, Ben, as I'm sure you know as well as I do. But it's a bit of a wobble from Imri there going through turn 10. And I mean, based on he took pole, so not good for him as is. I'm not sure we should be concerned for Imri in this race so far.
As it's going stages, I think only time will tell. We are only 5 laps into the race. It is recoverable. We've seen it before with him, but yeah, he's got one heck of a job to do.
Well, I think it's impossible, especially in this league. I'll say that for absolutely nothing. As as Dan now even closer to Grumio that time around. Further back here, it's all single file at the minute. JB holding on to that last point to play in place. It's 2.3 seconds back to Curtis. So I'm sure he's got more eye on looking at Lucky Lambert in front of him. Of course, the two veterans.
Dan's close to Grumio away. Dan is very close to Grumio.
Very close to Grumio this time. DRS in play is the closest he's been. He might go for an attack this time round. Grumio harvesting his battery, so Dan might be lead past a sitting duck here, and he does. Around the outside goes the Silver Arrow into turn 1, and half passing Hope 2.
They just lift off the fall though, because all of a sudden Dan gained a lot of speed on Grumio. Whether Grumio didn't want to fight it or not through turn 1, but that could be a tactical move from the Haas driver.
I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen these two go toe to toe around this circuit. It's often been a chase between Grumio and the leading driver, either Dan and Shay. That's been the story of the last couple of seasons in these races, where it's just run clean to the end. So that's what we keep an eye out for. I mean, they're doing a good job of making it deja vu. Huff is currently 2.5 seconds back from Dan, so he's under pressure from 3 cars in behind him. That's cars in Pope, Alvar, and TJ. Look at Alvar doing fantastically. He's only managed to score 8 points all season. He's going to almost double his. He's going to, yeah. I mean, almost. Rather, he will double his tally if he finishes where he is. Obviously, it'll be 18 points for the season for him should he finish where he is. But as you keep saying, Ben, long way to go. There's still 60 more laps to come in this Grand Prix, so we won't count our chickens just yet. But I dare say we might see Grumio go at it again here. Whether he tries to stick with Dan, he keeps on harvesting DRS, still going for overtake with his battery and a DRS enable, charging towards turn 1. And yeah, you are right, Ben. It does look like Dan is practically lifting off. Same sort of thing as was last time around. Dan is harvesting, and the attacking car, in this case being Grumio, he's not harvesting. So that'll be what we have to get used to seeing over the course of the evening. As HP Cook closes on 10th towards turn 1. It's quite close between them. HP Cook was on the inside, but thought better of it, and will wait and live to fight another day against the RB driver as they make their way through turn 3. PJ into the pit lane here. I think we'll be serving that penalty for the first time. Oh, he's out of the race.
Alright, okay.
So never mind, no penalty to be served. So PJ, our first retiree this Grand Prix, just 6 laps in. So tough break for him. Tough break for Alpine as a whole. See those guys 28 points this season. Ethan, with a decent score, could try and jump his teammate in the championship leaving Spain. So keep an eye out for that later on in the evening. Grumio and Dan again pulling away. It's 3 seconds now to Huff in 3rd. No real change in the order behind them at the moment. Obviously, we've seen 10th and HP Cook going at it. Hammer on Tong for that 7th spot. Lucky and JB where they are. Oh, around goes car, around AT! Around their leading turn 9, safety cars out.
Oh, AT, come on.
He's alright. So he's just lost his front wing there, so he's lucky to get away with it. And I'm not sure we may have floor damage as well. You're not too sure in that sense, but look, just lost control of the car on those curbs leaving turn 9. Those things can be deadly if you hit them the wrong way. But so a rare mistake then from one of the 2 Haas drivers, and AT will likely be into the pit lane this time. It's everyone going into the pit lane to make changes, likely off of their previously soft tyres. Grumio and Dan both crossed the line before the safety car came out, so both of them have missed out in that sense on a free pit stop. Curtis, Ethan staying out, as is Cottney Goblin, so a number of cars up the order here. Cottney could be doing himself in that sense, because he had a chance to pit off of 7-lap-old soft tyres. I'm not sure what tyre wear is like around here for those soft, but we've seen in previous races, Ben, that tyre wear for the soft has been quite deadly, to put it mildly. So we'll see here as to how long Cottney goes for him to change. And we're seeing the cars who have obviously fallen back, AT, Obsessed, Imri, DJ. This would be a godsend for them as they get a free stop in, as all of them taking advantage of it, gone to a set of what looks to be hard tyres for all of them. We'll see what Imri does. I mean, he's yet to actually reach his stall, as DJ is also waiting to head back to his pit box. What's Imri going to do?
It's looking like he's medium. Soft tyres, right? Okay. So Imri's got to try to do something different.
Yeah, no, I'd say so. I mean, I'd say he's got to try and go more aggressive against all the hard tyre runners in front of him. That's another 8. That's another 7 cars there who've got hard tyres on ahead of Imri. So it'll be up to him to try and work his way back through the field again to try and catch up to Grumio and Dan to ensure he hasn't lost too much time in this race. I mean, Imri's never managed to work his way through the field in that same sense before, but we'll see what he does this time as Grumio enters the pit lane. Came very close to hitting the outside barrier on 2 occasions there, so Grumio will lose track position. Dan will take over the race lead.
In.
Cottney also pitting, so yep, so those guys in the soft tyres might have hurt us in that sense, Ben. So change being made there for those guys. And so Ethan joining them as well. Medium tyres onto that Alpine. Nice and easy stop. No traffic in the pit lane in this case. So Grumio down to P9, but another set of soft tyres going onto that car. So he's doing what Imri's doing in that sense. And those guys are going to emerge with about 5 cars separating them. So we'll see here who's got the speed to come through the order. We could see Grumio and Imri go on a serious charge here in their second stints, but Dan now could be left with quite a comfortable lead. So we'll see what he tries to do, whether he tries to just manage these tyres as long as he can to try and get, I mean, I doubt the one stop's on, in all seriousness. I shouldn't think we've seen a one stop in this Grand Prix. I think it's definitely going to be a 2. But I think if you can avoid making a third stop, I think that would definitely be a good thing for Dan, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, medium tyres on him for now. Curtis, same thing. Those two, the only cars who didn't pit, both of them on those same mediums since the start.
Oh. Huff. So much just happened to Huff. He's gone from P3. Oh, okay. Huff sagging.
Huff may have desynced them in some sense. Not entirely sure there. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that because I've seen that change in the past. I think likely it may let him back through now to. We'll see if he goes charging past everyone. Nope, he's going to stay where he is. Okay, right then. So Huff down to P12 then. That is a that was a strange moment there, but we'll carry on as we are. Pope now unchallenged in 3rd place. Alvar up to 4th. TJ P5. 10th. HB Cook. Lucky, JB and Grumio make it your top 10 now. But there we go. That was definitely an odd moment.
So Huff has gone from P3 and actually looking really good to challenge in the top 2 to all of a sudden being behind Ethan.
It'll be interesting to see how he does in the crowd now. That'll be the main thing, especially on a circuit such as this, which is a bit more wide open than Monaco was. I mean, obviously, you got some stuff stuck in that mid-pack train last time out, so we'll see how he handles it this time on a circuit he can actually make overtakes. I mean, it's not so much about survival around Spain as it is around just sort of making those passes. But obviously, only two DRS zones in the circuit. But I mean, where else can you put them realistically? I mean,
yeah.
you can maybe put one going down from turn 3 towards turn 4, but I mean that's too short a straight, I should think. And obviously the overkill to put it in turn 3. You wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends on your exit from turn 2. With turn 3 being as fast as it is, it kind of does depend on how you drive up against your opponent going into turn 4. And let's hope, fingers crossed, we don't see Hamilton Rosberg.
I've just seen a message that Grumio has left in the chat a moment ago. I'm seeing the message floor damage, yay. Is there a chance that Grumio has some damage of some kind? Not entirely sure as to what it could be from. Perhaps it could be from that first lap collision, but I don't think it was too hard a shunt to warrant floor damage for either one of them. I mean, neither one of them hit the barriers. Imri just went for a slide in the end. You'd thought at the mirror to me he'd lose an end plate, but not to be. But we'll see here then what pace is like for both those two on the start. They're the ones to keep an eye out for. DJ is going to catch up quite late here. Safety car is in this lap, so change we made. We're 10 laps into this Grand Prix. We're about to start lap 11. There it is, 16 of your 17 cars still running on the run towards turn number 9, on the run towards turn 10. Sorry. Dan is in control. It's Curtis, Pope, Alvar, TJ, your top 5. Both Red Bulls in the top 5, so looking good for them as of right now. Obviously, PJ is out of the Grand Prix. AT is down the order. He obviously made the spin that brought the safety car out. Imri down the order. Grumio also down the order. So 2 front runners, including the pole sitter, who obviously had a scrap on the first lap, trying to recover themselves now. And Dan is going to lead them away with Curtis in tow. Both cars on 10-lap-old medium tyres. As the green flag comes back out, we're back to racing here on lap number 11 here in Barcelona. Curtis follows Dan in his wake towards turn 1. Pope, same thing. Alvar following in line. TJ breaks that tow going towards turn 1. And there is everyone all in position and looking to get back to what should be some very feisty racing here as Imri trying to challenge AT towards that first corner back in P15. There goes the Sauber at the inside, locking the tyres up, but gets through. And it's one spot gained, 14 more to go for the Sauber driver who started on pole in this race.
Yep, as we got Grumio going round the outside of turn 4, JP on the soft compound tyre, makes no mistake, fairly nice and easy on the grippy tyre out of the toe, but both Grumio and Imri has got a bit of a job to do.
Well, Imri already up to P14 now, has made the move on Obsessed, going through turn number 4. And Grumio's next target being Lucky Lambert and the Ferraris. I think he's going to try and turn 9 for a second there. I wouldn't advise that, Grumio, lad. But going through 9 and heading towards 10, better exit on those soft tyres. This will be the case here. Tyre wear, not so much a concern on this restart. And Grumio will make short work of that Ferrari and go up into 8th place. As Imri is also trying to make the move on the other Ferrari there. It's not looking too good here for the Scuderia at the moment. P9, P14, just 2 points going their way. Of course, those two still sitting bottom of the standings. Lucky yet to score his first points of the season, but obviously only joined us a few weeks ago in Monaco. DRS in play.
Oh, that's wide from him.
A bit wide there, yet from the Sauber drivers heads towards that first corner. No DRS for them just yet, and currently it's still Dan, but he's put a big advantage here, up by 1.6 seconds to Curtis, who's serving as a nice bottleneck for everyone else. That including Grumio, trying to challenge HB Cook into turn 3, but the Sauber driver holds his nerve and holds the inside as the main thing. But Grumio's going to try and get to his inside if he can. Might be the same thing as he tries to go around the outside of HB Cook as he did on JB a lap ago. It's going to be tight here, but on corner exit, he's got the inside going down towards turn 5 now. A bit of contact to impair them. 2 light taps from HB Cook. Grumio clears him, and he's working to try and help his teammate in any sense against his close, arguably the championship leader in that sense. Not to work for now, but Imri not bothering too much, going into P12 now around Ethan. So making moves in these two, both of them up a number of places already.
Yeah, so I wonder if something happened on for Ethan at the exit turn 5, because he's lost 3 positions as a result of it, and now finding himself behind the kit Sauber. He's going round the outside again. Well, it's just having itself to line. Can't quite pull it off this time around though. Not
this time on a half, obviously. So you saw him lag and go down to P11 there. So tough break for him. We'll see if he recovers it, or we'll see if the game does put him back where he was. I'm not entirely sure what the game plan is for that there. DRS in play for everyone going towards turn 1, except Dan, who's got out of dodge completely here. 2 seconds to the good now over Curtis. Pope couldn't make the move. Grumio around 10th, counting to P6. TJ next on his hit list. Yep, JB going side by side with Huff. And Imri trying the outside on JB now as they go through turn 3. Couldn't quite do it. We saw Imri slide a little bit there on corner entry. I'm sure JB would rather not be taken on the outside by another soft tire runner. Only Grumio and Imri on the soft tire at this stage. So keep an eye out for those two. Obviously, as we have been doing. But now, Imri making the pass around the outside of JB. Gets him a corner late, but gets it done regardless. And into P11 now. The charge continues on for Imri. And we'll see how he gets on there. Dan, as I say, now 2.7 seconds in front. He is charging away. Pope on the hard tyres. Obviously, highest up with freshest tyres. Doing a good job there as he makes his way into turn 10. Still chasing Curtis, but should be able to look at try into making that move sooner rather than later here. Dan is, as I say, he's getting out of town completely here, but obviously yet to make his first stop. So he's going to try and build as much of an advantage as he can, or try and stretch these tyres to another pit stop, which I doubt he'll be able to do. It's going to be quite a big order for him to try and do it, especially at the rate he's going. And we'll see here if Grumio makes any more moves going towards turn 1. He's run the tail of TJ towards that first corner, making 1 pass and not close enough for 2. And now Pope challenging Curtis into turn 1. There goes the Williams driver up the inside and looking for that spot. He'll clear Curtis into 2. Curtis might get brought back into play here, but Alvar on his tail. AT's out, retiring the pit lane there. Second retiree of this race, and AT obviously had a spin earlier on at turn 9. Pace is not there for him, and one of the Haas cars goes out as the other one fights for P4 around the outside of Alvar. Can't do it. Might try the inside into turn 5 if Alvar doesn't challenge Curtis first. There goes the McLaren around the outside and up.
That's boldy.
Oh, looking for it on corner exit. What a move there.
That's got it done. What a move. It is Grumio.
So second retiree then, as I say, Ben. AT out. Obviously tough break from him. Obviously we both saw the spin leaving turn 9, and it's just been a bad day for him, I think, as a whole, which means that I win the predictions this week. As HB Cook is still there in P8, unless of course he retires. I mean, unless you want to take someone else here, but I mean, I don't know. Do you want to take someone else, or do you want to call it quits?
Well, I kind of feel it feels a bit unfair if I take somebody else out, because I can go exactly what's going off in the race. So I think I'll call it quits for this one, Zach.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll keep it that way then. Right, so that's another point up for me, and that is, I think that's either 1 or 2 to you, and then all the rest to me so far. So I've done all right so far.
I need to get moving.
Get moving. I mean, if you want to take a Grumio next week, be my guest. I mean, he's up to P3 now, making that pass on Alvar. But obviously we try and stay away from the front runners as best we can, and when I make a predictions, obviously I'll maybe a change on that front to avoid us going with that same rotation week after week as we were doing. Imri's now into 10th place there, speaking of the front runners. He's managed to make a move on Lucky Lambert, HB Cook and Huff for his next 2 targets on his hit list. 10th is still in P7, the 2 Red Bulls still P6, P5, so both of them in the points paying places. Looking good for RB right now. JB down in 12th, sorry, looking good for Red Bull, sorry, with the RB of JB in 12th place and 10th only in 7th there. So we'll see how things play out. And Pope is still, he is the next car for Grumio to pass, but those soft tyres will likely die in a few laps or so for Grumio, given how hard he's been pushing them. And I should think the same thing for Imri, so I'm not sure what the game plan is for those guys as to how long they plan to go on those tyres, Ben. I mean, if you're in their position, you're on the soft tyres 15 laps into this race, and you're still going to have to make 1, maybe 2 more pit stops, what would you do from here?
I'd extend as long as I could on the softs and try and go to the end on the hards.
Okay, right. Well,
But it's going to take some serious time management, I won't lie.
I think we're talking about arguably two of the best tire managers in the league here as Grumio makes his pass. Obviously, we know how good Grumio is with tyres. The tyre whisperer, they call him, as they go into turn one. I've never called him that ever in my old career, so I'm going to pretend I didn't say that. And Imri's still there chasing Huff. Wasn't close enough with DRS this time round, so we'll like to see him go for it. But I think at this point, the soft tyres have died now. I think at the very least, to the point where they can't be going for those audacious moves around the outside. You see a big lockup from Dan there going into turn 5. He's 3.7 seconds in front. The question now is how much of his tyres has Grumio burned through, and how quickly we try and close on Dan's lead. He's already getting about 2/10 or so already since making that pass, and he's actually closing at a rate of knots here. So big gains for Grumio. And yeah, I say definitely right, but he'll be able to extend those soft tyres as long as he can here. And we'll see how everyone else handles their tyres. Obviously, a number of drivers who've been on those same tyres since that safety car came out about 8 or 9 laps ago. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, strategy-wise, how the rest of this race goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I can also see a few clouds starting to rise, and we just make the move around the outside of Huff at turn 11. Can he make it without contact?
Oh,
contact! It was round!
That was close. Both cars like to keep out the wall there, but both
And
cars
now
in
Huff
the
in the
pit
pit lane.
lane. And that was quite tight, but I wonder... Oh, Huff penalty. And he's out. Well, there we go then.
Right, okay.
I wonder, Ben, if you may have had your first example of the commentator's curse. I wonder if you may have listened to that for the first time. Don't worry, everyone does it, so we won't jeopardize it too much.
We're talking till round 6, 7. What round
you did
is?
that on purpose, didn't you?
No.
I've got my eye on you, alright?
Alright.
Hard tyres for Imri then, so he's got his stop out of it now, but he is obviously quite a way back from the lead. We're looking at 33 seconds for Imri, but obviously there's quite a long pit lane in Spain, so I shouldn't think he'll be too far behind. Obviously he's now on the freshest set of tyres in the field, and Grumio's going to need to stop as well, so likely he'll also go down the order as well at some stage. But I mean, the chance is still there for him to try and extend, and I mean, obviously, in terms of those two, I mean, going side by side into turn 13 like that, it's a big ask for anyone, I think, especially when you're going side by side with another car.
Yeah. Oh god, I thought we were going to have it again with 10th for Curtis.
Oh, you know what? I flicked onto it for a second there. I mean, DRS in play for both for 10th and HB Cook. So charge towards turn 1. This could be a good pass of P6 for 10th, as HB Cook might try and get involved as well. Doesn't get involved, stays where he is, but 10th into P6 now. Another good move from her. And as we've been saying the last few weeks, the run of form just keeps on continuing extending for 10th. She's done fantastically these first 8 rounds. And in this race as well.
Yeah. Fair play to 10th, in all honesty. She's done absolutely brilliantly from the end of last season up until now. She's done remarkably well, so credit to her.
Again, trying the outside there. I mean, his tyres still in good condition, so he's making a move on Curtis here, up into P7, so double whammy for Curtis, who may try and come back at the Sauber, as Lucky Lambert goes for a bit of a moment there going through turns 7 and 8, but recovers it, keeps the car under control, and keeps himself moving. Currently running in that 9th spot. Courtney Goblin's in P11. Obviously, he's already scored some points this season, but we'd like to get some more on his tally. Only his 4 points counting towards Ferrari's tally for the season thus far.
Look at Grumio.
Oh, he's closed in under our noses right then. Grumio in play all of a sudden here, and DRS in order for the first time since that initial safety car first came out. And they're going towards turn 1 now. He's going to close that gap back in, and the duel begins once again here as Pope being chased by Alvar and TJ. That scrap continues on, but no one close enough for a move with DRS just yet. 10th is pulled away from HB Cook, who's simultaneously pulled away from Curtis. Lucky's closed in, as is Ethan. Lucky a bit wide there at turn 1, so keep an eye out for that Ferrari to try and go for a move in the next lap or two. Same thing for Ethan. Courtney Goblin holding off JB and Obsessed. DJ about a second behind in P14, and Imri going through turn 14 himself in the 15th spot, in the 15th position. 20 seconds back off of DJ right now. So needs to get some work done. He's 35 seconds behind the lead now, so he's fallen away a little bit on these hard tyres. But obviously, we'll look to try and extend for as long as he can in this Grand Prix, I think. But I doubt he can go to the end of them.
Yeah. He's going to be nip and tuck. Obviously, if weather plays a factor. I'm starting to see a few clouds hover around the circuit, so whether there is rain inbound or if it's due to be sunny throughout the race is another thing. Imri's race has pretty much been destroyed ever since the contact with Huff. That completely wrecked his race, and whilst he is gaining on those just in front of him, he's a bit disadvantaged now.
We'll see how things go for him. I mean, he's already made 3 stops.
Okay, Alvar.
Yeah, I mean, Alvar challenged Pope. He's still been closing on the Williams towards turn 1, but can't go for a move just yet. So, I mean, looking perhaps, is there an outside chance we could see Alvar on the podium today? That could be an interesting feat for McLaren.
That would be lovely.
We'll see.
Deserves the podium.
Yeah. We'll see if Alvar can take 3rd place away. We'll see if TJ can get himself involved as well. He's currently 8th place in the Drivers' Championship with TJ. Hasn't put up too many trees this season, but 4th place, nothing to sniff at in Monaco last week. He's got, looking at my count, he's got 37 points for the season so far. So not a bad tally by any means, and obviously leading his teammate by 10 points there. So big stuff for Red Bull in the last couple of weeks. We'll see if they can continue that run of form. Kurt's obviously down to P8 now, but TJ looking for some more solid points, 10 points going his way as it stands right now. Could be 12 or 15 if he gets around Alvar and Pope. We'll have to wait and see. But Grumio is there and close to Dan again. He's within half a second for the first time in about 12 laps or so. And all of a sudden we're back in play with these two gunning each other for the lead. As a round turn 14, it's going to be, again, hammer and tong between these two great drivers. As
it's going to be fairly simple.
Sitting duck here is one, Daniel Aron, as Grumio, for the first time since that safety car, charges back into the lead on those soft tyres. But I should think he needs to stop again. I mean, he needs to stop again minimum to get onto a different set of tyres. Unless, like you say, Ben, the rain or any rain does come, and obviously it becomes a wet race, you can go free rain tyre-wise, but likely you'd be looking at inters or wets regardless there. So not so much free rain in that sense. But JB making a pass behind them on Courtney Goblin into turn 1. Move JB into the 11th spot. 3.8 seconds behind Lucky in P10. Ethan managed to get around him. Can he get around Curtis and HP Cook as well? Time will tell. Medium-tired Alpine, fresher medium tyres against older medium-tired Curtis. He's been on those since the start. And HP Cook, on Tim Cannon, on the hard tyre. No, I'm going to no, it was HP Cook on the hard tyre, but same amount of time for both of them. So basically, since that safety car came out, they pitted on the same lap as it headed onto the racetrack again. We're on lap 21 here, so we're almost a third of the way through this Grand Prix, but it's gone by quite quickly, despite that safety car being involved.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I think the thing that's really helped out this race is the fact that we've always been treated to a bit of overtaking, a bit of maybe a few collisions here. Obviously, Huff had a bit of a incident. Obviously, that one were a bit hectic. Alvar's gone from where to P4, so hold on. Let's see how far. So Alvar's gone up 2 positions. So I thought Alvar started right far down, but credit to him.
I mean, qualifying obviously was quite topsy-turvy compared to what we're used to. Obviously, the wet conditions change things a fair bit. We saw 10th qualify P4, for example. She's up there. She's still there in P6, so not doing too bad at all here. I should think we're likely closing in on a few drivers entering the pit lane here. I should think that Dan will stop at some stage sooner rather than later. Grumio, same thing. Pope can probably go for a bit longer, as can all the guys on the hard tyres, more or less. Alvar will likely be looking at a stop soon, as will Curtis. Ethan, I wouldn't say just yet. He may get a few laps out of it. Courtney Goblin, same thing. Just those guys on the medium tyres who have done around a sort of amount of laps that we expect them to do. And we'll see here if we do have any takers this time round. But for now, though, it's Grumio almost by a second to Dan. I mean, look at that. In 13 laps, he's come through the field. And I mean, he's gone from about P10 to P1. He's put almost a second on his closest competitor, as he actually got out of DRS range for a second there. I'm not sure if Dan still has DRS. I think he may have just lost it. He's come off the last corner. Yes, he has. Right, so there we go then. Grumio puts Dan out of DRS range, but Dan will use his batteries, or what's left of his batteries, try and close back in. Is Alvar close enough this time for a move? We'll see what happens down this main straight towards turn 1. That McLaren has been dangerous looking so far, and keeping pressure on Pope, that's the key thing. TJ, same thing, but none of them close enough for a move at the moment. 10th behind them in P6. Quiet race for her so far. It's Lucky Lambert looking to try and challenge Ethan into turn 9, can't do it. JB and the pressure again from Courtney Goblin. Obsessed with DJ behind them. Imri now 16.7 seconds back from P14 and 37 seconds behind the lead. So he's losing time to the leaders, but he is still gaining on those cars in front, but not by much. So things looking great for Imri right now. He may need another safety car or indeed a change in conditions to get back into this race.
don't forget about red flags. We've had a couple of them we want to kill.
Yeah, very true. I think we've had one here before, if memory serves. I could be wrong, but I think we've had one in recent seasons of this circuit. I feel like that sticks in my mind as happening. I think it was season either 17 or 18 when Landlord managed to win the race. Obviously, this being the first season in quite a while without the presence of Landlord on the grid. Hopefully, he's enjoying his RDR retirement in that sense. But his old teammate and rival continues to dominate on, as he still holds that 1.1 second advantage to Dan and P2. And you're right, Ben. The clouds are definitely coming here, and the track's starting to get a bit darker. So whether we start looking at rain at any point in this Grand Prix could be interesting, but we'll keep an eye out here.
Yeah, well, yeah. Pope was really like holding up a bit of a train. Obviously, he's got the likes of TJ and Alvar, which naturally you would expect Pope to pull away, but Alvar's using his DRS to great effect. I wonder if Pope's got any damage or anything like that, or is struggling with tyres.
I mean, obviously Alvar is on a faster tyre, but that tyre is as worn as Pope's are. So you'd think that the hard tyres have some life left in them, and the medium tyres be dying out, but not the case for now. And you are right, Ben. DRS could also be playing into the matter as well. Those two DRS zones keeping Alvar in range, but he's never been under any risk of losing that DRS at any stage. He's kept himself consistent. The lap times have stayed as they are, and he's looking good right now. So it's comfortable P4 for Alvar at the minute, despite having TJ bearing down on him, and only a tenth slower than his best effort on that last time round through Sector 2. So yeah, not doing too bad as Alvar. And I'd say if he can keep this up, he should be in for at the very least a higher point scoring finish.
Yeah, so yeah, I think Alvar has really deserved it over the last couple of seasons. Yes, stands into pits.
So change being made then for Daniel Aron for the first time in this Grand Prix. He'll fall out the points paying places likely, and or off the podium for the moment. And you are right, we're right, Ben. So hard tyres going on. The question now is, we've still got 41 laps to go, and he's taken those medium tyres for 24 laps. So can he take those hard tyres for another 41? That's going to be a big task for him. But if he can try and skip that second stop entirely, that might do him some good.
Yeah, well, yeah, massively, me saving a bit of time. I know we keep talking about it, but it seems to be getting ever so gloomier out there, Zach, doesn't it?
It does, and if Dan has just stopped, well, we could be looking at rain potentially. That could be a shot in the foot, and that could leave Gremio wide open to win this race, even from the point where we're not even halfway to the Grand Prix just yet. Gremio will keep an eye out. We'll keep an eye on those halos and see if any sort of drops of rain do start to emerge. But things still look they look relatively bright. It might just be a change to overcast conditions. Let's wait and see them. But Dan's already making moves. He's up past DJ into P13. His teammate is next in line. That's Obsessed Gamer in the other Silver Arrow. We should like to see Obsessed move over for his teammate at some stage, perhaps on that main straight going towards turn 1, or perhaps Toto Wolff will let them race in this sense and make their way into turn 10. Not too sure as what their plan is there, whether Dan will get let through on the fresher tyres, or whether they'll be left to fight his teammate and then Courtney in front of him. The rain, if there is any rain, will be inbound. I'm still seeing blue sky around the circuit, so it's not looking like it just yet. It may be a few laps or so if it is coming. Not too sure here. We're sort of playing a waiting game at the moment, Ben, to see whether we do get anything from the sky at all.
Wouldn't that spice up the race?
I mean, I'd say so. It's spiced up qualifying, I'll say that.
Yeah, it's two swap positions on the exit turn 2.
So change made then. And Dan will be left to try and chase down Courtney and JB in front. Those guys racing for P11 and P10 thanks to Dan's stop. Courtney one place off the points here, looking for it. Obviously was devastated after that loss of P5 in Monaco last week. Very tough circuit, obviously, as we all know, to navigate the best of times, especially given how chaotic last week's race was. But Courtney navigating things nicely here. But the slide there through turn 8. Those medium tires done 17 laps. They've done a fair bit here. And we'll see if Dan can get around this time. DRS in play for both cars. Courtney off of JB towards turn number 10. Dan tries the inside, locks up. Goes for a bit of a slide there. Courtney leaves in the space to recover himself. And the Ferrari stays on the inside here. So it's not over just yet between these two. But one of them may lose that DRS to JB. Yes, yeah, I mean, Dan's lost DRS now. But into P11, he should be able to close down on JB himself naturally. But Courtney may be able to come back at Dan potentially. Look, I mean, the tyres are quite worn at this stage. DJ gets a penalty, multiple warnings. Emery's got 3 seconds as well, so changed. So not fantastic. I think that may have slipped under the radar a little bit. But Emery, 3 seconds to his name. That won't help his case at all here. We're nearing the halfway stage, and he's still back in the order. at the moment. He may get a place it off of Curtis towards turn 1. There is the Red Bull driver on pit exit. He's going to emerge just in front of himself, perhaps, into that first corner. Yes, he will, but Imri's trying to outbrake him into turn 1. Has the outside there. Curtis forced into combat immediately here. And on corner exit falls away. But he's on those fresh and medium tyres. So might get around Imri a bit easier here. But the Sauber driver in P14. And with a long way back in this Grand Prix. And currently 37.9 seconds, like that, almost 38 seconds back from Grumio in P1.
Yeah, the problem Imri's had at the moment in time is that he's having to push, but he don't want to push the tyres too much. So there's a bit of a predicament there. As Grumio does actually end up going into pits to get rid of them soft compound tyres. The problem that Imri's had is the fact that those in front of him have all remained within DRS, because otherwise he would have been really close on pit rate or not, but with DRS being so powerful around here, he's been losing time.
So a struggle then for Imri. Not a nice spot to be in. He's still 12.7 seconds back from DJ and could be under pressure from Curtis this time on those fresh medium tyres. Curtis is stuck with the Sauber driver as they round turns 13 and 14. Grumio re-emerges in P8 on a fresh set of medium tyres as he charges towards turn 1 here. These last two cars in running order, and Curtis goes fighting past Imri there up into the 14th spot. And it's been a tough day for him so far. Obviously compounded by that incident in the first couple of corners with Grumio. And it's just gotten worse for him from there. Obviously, the collision with Huff earlier on in the race too.
Yeah, how something can start off so well with obviously nicking pole position in qualifying, but then tumbling down the order in the race. So we've still got over half the race. We'll see if we can pick things back up.
I mean, if there's a change in conditions that can play into it, if there's a safety car, that will definitely help him. We'll see if he goes full attack on that in that sense. I mean, he was up in the top 10 for a little bit until obviously the run in with Huff. That was around 10-11 laps ago this stage, almost 12. Pope now leads the way then. So Pope leading, Alvar second, TJ in third. But Alvar, I think, may have lost the DRS to Pope this time around by a few tenths, or about less than a tenth or so. So TJ could be in play here in an attempt to try and go for second place. 10th by herself in fourth place, 4 seconds back, but 5.6 in front of HB Cook. Ethan P6. Oh, Lucky numbers off.
Lucky's off.
In the gravel, end plate lossage there. Lucky to keep himself in the race, I suppose, living up to his name in that sense, as Dan gets around him on those fresh, hard tyres. Lucky recovers himself, but will likely need to pit this time.
Likely so, yeah. He just lost the rear on the exit turn 1, so I wonder if those hard tyres, which have been on that Ferrari for about 21 laps now, is starting to give way.
It appears they are now reaching the limit, it seems. Grumio in P7 there. Dan is in 8th place, 3.7 seconds separating the pair of them. Dan can try and go longer, I should think, but I shouldn't think that Grumio would be able to manage those tyres all the way to the end. I think you need to rely on some sort of intervention, like a change in conditions or a safety car, as we've been saying, as he tries the inside of Ethan into turn 11. Into turn 10, sorry. That is turn 11. And 3:12 now. HB Cook next on his hit list. And it's then 6 seconds to 10th in front.
It's not going to make it easy, the kicks out there, I know that for a fact.
Through turn 14, he's sort of sat there behind HB Cook until corner exit, and now he's going for it with DRS and battery in deploy, but HB Cook kind of fight back on the outside, can't do it. The raw pace on the fresh set of hard tyres, for medium tyres, for Grumio, will carry him past. He's up into 5th place again. And Dan 3.4 behind those guys.
Yeah, is Tense looking for a move up the inside of turn 1 of Lucky. Lucky did not pit and has paid the price for it.
End plate damage not seeming to impact him too much, although he goes through turn 3 and loses a whole heap of time to JB, who now finds himself in the top 10. It might be an idea to try and look into letting Cotney go. I mean, obviously teammates in play there. But Cotney will emerge into P10, I should think, when Lucky does pit, which can't be too far away at this point now. I mean, almost everyone's been in their tyres for over 20 laps, save for those drivers who have made changes. Imri is there, still P15, and as Curtis has pulled away by 2.6 seconds now. So, yeah, he needs something desperately here. As Obsessed gets a penalty, multiple warnings. That is his second of the race, so 6 seconds for Obsessed now. And we are nearing lap 33, of course, the halfway mark for this Grand Prix. It's Pope in control from Alvar and TJ, but Grumio and Dan are coming back to the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Problem that Imri's got is obviously he's on 13 lap old hard tyres. He hasn't got much ERS to play around with. His tyres already look a bit short, won't I? If I want to press on them. I think Imri's not in the best position here to score many points, if indeed he will score points at all.
think if he run cleans to check a flag, that would be the case. So I've just seen TJ finally get around Alvar in the race for what is now the second spot. So at long last, after staring at the back of that McLaren for at least the last 10-15 laps, he's managed to get around him and can now start working on chasing Pope for the lead. They're both on those hard tyres, 23 laps each. Same case with 10th behind them, HB Cook in P6, Dan JB in P9. And same thing for Obsessed as well, and Lucky Lambert. Those guys have all been those same hard tyres since that safety car. We'll see how long they continue to take him on for. Of course, it gives a sense as to how long Dan can go on his. Because I think he's trying, as you say, Ben, he's trying to extend those to the end. It's going to be a big ask. As you said earlier, it's touch and go in that sense. It's going to be interesting to see if one more stop is made for these guys. Dan has made, obviously, just the one stop in this Grand Prix. Only Grumio has made 2 stops in this race so far. Everyone else has made either 1 or 3, as Obsessed makes the pass on Cottony. And both Ferraris seem to be struggling here. Lucky's still doing okay despite having that lost end plate. He's still within DRS range of JB, so clearly not losing too much time in other parts of the circuit right now. But
Dan's on his way.
Henley Ethan here going towards someone, as you say, Ben.
It's moved on. It may actually look to size up a move on HB Cook in a matter of time.
I can't imagine it being too long for that comes to fruition. No, not at all. Might even come towards here, going towards turn number 4. It's going to be quite tight between them. I thought for a second that HB Cook was going to open the door for a potential Dan manoeuvre, but not to be this time around. The Sauber driver maintains P6, but Dan you see him looking all over the shop, trying to find some more time, trying to find a way to get himself closer to that Sauber, because obviously the more time he spends stuck behind them, the quicker Grumio pulls away. And he's already about 6 seconds in front of the Mercedes driver as it stands right now. Grumio looking to try and extend that championship lead a bit further. And a big time over Imri, of course, isn't scoring in this race right now. It could see him drop to 3rd, maybe 4th in the championship if Dan can finish where he is. And if Pope obviously finishes up the order as well. Lucky Lambert penalty there. I think that's his first of the evening. Yes, it is. So 3 seconds for him for Ferrari. So tough break for them.
Yeah, may start to see that happening over the course of the last stages of these stints, with tyre wear kicking in, tyre temperatures going through roof, warnings and penalties maybe playing a factor in the actual end results.
Could be one to keep an eye out for, especially towards the end of the races. Obviously, it's a long Grand Prix. So yeah, as Dan makes the pass and takes P6 now, it's 7 seconds to Grumio of him in front. But yeah, as you said, man, it's a long race, and obviously these guys aren't used to running as long in one Grand Prix as they. Oops, I paused the game. They're not used to running as long over the course of one race as they are perhaps on the usual 50% races we have for most of the season. So that'll be the one thing to keep an eye out for. Who's got the discipline mentally to keep themselves going until the closing laps? Remember, of course, in the last 100% race, at least the bits we got into it, Dan was keeping himself alert. Obviously, you weren't here for this. I'm not sure if you heard about this. Dan kept himself alert by having several compilations of silence and then random sound effects coming in at random times. Things like metal pipes falling, Angry Bird sound effects, that sort of thing. to keep himself sort of alert.
Oh dear.
It's a tactic. I've seen the RDL playlist that a number of drivers on this grid use to keep themselves going during races. Obviously the whole playlist is used over the course of the Grand Prix. It's about 25 hours long, the entire thing, and you'd be a bit of a mentalist to sit through the whole thing and listen to the entire playlist. I was scrolling through it today, and one song I saw that sort of caught my eye. I'm not sure who put in Peaches by Jack Black from the Mario movie. I'm not quite sure whose idea that was, but just whoever it was, just know that your music tastes aren't quite being put on trial. They're more being applauded for putting that in the audio playlist. I can't imagine going around the circuit and hearing that on the Spotify as I'm just trying to concentrate on scoring some points.
Oh,
but,
so what happened? Right? Yes. So what's happened to the Aston Martin DJ?
Yeah, he's sort of had a bit of a rough run through turn 2 there, and
I thought he got a puncture.
It might do, actually. I think he's okay. I think the puncture normally looks a lot more obvious than this. I think the hard tyre should be alright, given it's a full-length Grand Prix. And they've done 25 laps, so we are probably nearing the point now where they're under a bit of pressure. But Imre is now closing in, so I might finally get an opportunity to go for some sort of pass in this race. He's still 32 seconds back from first place right now, so obviously that'll change, I should think, when Grumio moves into the lead again. He should do. He's currently about 3 seconds back, 3 or 4 seconds behind Pope right now. We're on to lap 35 now, so we are past halfway in this Grand Prix. 10th still in P5, down and rounding turn number 14 now. He's in P6. And it's HB Cook, Ethan, JB and Lucky back in the points, so still maintaining himself there. No one's gone for a pit stop in a little while here, so I should think the pit lane will be alive soon as these guys gear up for last pit stops. So I think in the next sort of 5 laps or so, we may start seeing drivers come in for their routine stops to get this race off. And there is Courtney Goblin making that change off his medium tyres. I think it's going to set hard at the end, if I had to guess. I mean, he'll probably do, yeah. I think he can likely do 31 laps on those, would you say?
Yeah. I think 31 laps is possible. Just go for the hard. So that pretty much concludes Courtney Goblin's strategy, unless anything happens between now and the end of the race.
So I should think we'll start seeing those few medium runners coming in. So you'll be looking at drivers like Alvar, Ethan. I think to start coming in first, and then we'll see who else, if anyone else joins them, because obviously the hard tyre drivers can likely still go for a little bit longer at this stage. So it'll be interesting to see how the sequence plays out. Pope still leads by 1.4 seconds. He's been in a good bit of control here so far. Alvar stays out, so not going for it just yet, but Grimio's right behind him here. So it could be a change for third place once again as they ride down towards turn 1 on that long DRS train. As they enter the run towards the first corner, Grimio breezing past Alvar. Coolidge like there. Into the third spot once again. TJ in front of him, and then Pope for the lead in it, likely in a few laps time, I should think.
Yeah, I'd like to think so, yeah.
Meanwhile, Dan's still there in P6 as of right now. HB Cook defending from Ethan into the first corner. Ethan doesn't go for a move, but he's just reminding the Sauber driver that he is there and he is looking to try and play here. Imri might get a chance at an overtake here. He's closed in on DJ on the run towards turn 1. This is probably feel quite satisfying for Imri as he goes to it down the inside and up into the 13th spot at long last. His next target's 3.4 seconds up the road. That's Curtis in P12. So points hopefully still on the cards for Imri today after that tough start. But I think the chances of him trying to close on Grimio at all, I think, is out the window by now.
Yeah, so Grimio gets past TJ in through turn 11 and can start trying to mount a challenge to Pope.
And we'll see here if Pope gets out of the way in terms of pitting, or whether he fights Grimio sort of driver to driver here, as they ran the last corner. Grimio had DRS this time, so it appears that he's inevitable in that sense. They ride down towards turn 1 once again. We're at lap 37 now of the Spanish Grand Prix. We've entered the final 30 laps of this race. It's been a good race so far. It's been quite entertaining from start to finish, particularly at the start. So those first 10 laps were quite chaotic, but it's simmered down a bit since then. But we're still getting action wall to wall across the circuit. Grimio closing on Pope through turn 3, only 3.5 tenths covering them right now. So I think the DRS will be in play from next time round for a move for first place. Let's wait and see there what Pope does to try and counter that. TJ still in third place, Alvar 4th, 10th Cannon rounds out your top 5, but Dan is still closing in.
Yeah, just watching HB Cook and Ethan's battle. It looks like Ethan don't quite have the straight line speed, but has got the speed through sector 1, so that's where he's losing. He's losing time through sector 2 and 3, getting up a bit in turn 1, but it's just not enough to make a move.
So the main thing for him would be to try and set him up for a move, set him up in the final sector for a move towards turn 1. He needs to keep himself nice and close to that Sauber. The track seems a lot cloudier now than it was earlier on. I'm thinking that just in case there might be a touch of rain coming. I'm not too sure here. We'll keep an eye out just in case, but it still looks kind of bright in parts. So I'm thinking if there is rain coming and it's not yet, that's the thing to watch out for.
Could maybe be towards the end of the race.
And there's Grimio going for the lead on Pope. Into turn 1.
That didn't take long.
And Grimio then, within about 10 laps or so, has fought his way back through the order again and into the race lead once more on those medium tyres. And I think he might try and go to the end on those.
Yeah, he's got to be able to get to the end on them hard tyres. As much as it's a bit of a push, what's he on 10 lap old medium? Got another 29 laps ahead of me. Ahead of us, if I'm not mistaken. Is it push, or won't I?
Should be 29 or 28, one of the two here. As Curtis makes the move on Obsessed into turn 1. Curtis has been charged on those medium tyres since he passed Imri. Obviously, that was a fair few laps ago at this stage. Imri himself is still 4.6 behind Obsessed, so looking for P12 there. And the gap from him to P10 is about 7 seconds or so. So he's got work to do to try and get himself into the points once more. And that points holder is currently JB, who is still chasing Lucky for Peanut. Lucky managed to get back around JB despite having that wing damage. So Lucky not being impacted too much by that damage, which is good to see. But obviously he was a bit higher up in the order. I mean, he was higher up. It was around sort of P6, P7, P8, so that area. So he hasn't lost that too much, but I'm sure he'd rather be up there fighting with the cars in front.
Yeah, I think The problem that Imru's got is his tyres now. His tyres are starting to kick in. Does he try and wing it out until the end? It's a tough ask, I won't lie, so I could probably see Imru going in for one last pit stop.
Perhaps Bolt's going to set of soft tyres at the very end of the Grand Prix. I mean, I'd say trying to nick fastest lap, but useless now. No bonus point awarded for that since the start of season 19. Up front though, Grumio 2.5 to the good now for Pope. He's set to claim all 25 as it stands right now. But obviously a late change, just like a safety car, could bring things into more question. It's likely everyone will bolt on most likely a set of soft or medium tyres and sort of dish it out until the end of the race. So that'd be interesting to see. Should that happen? I mean, if anyone's willing to take one for the team, then we'll put it that way. But for now, though, everyone's sort of keeping to themselves, keeping it quite clean. It's been quite a clean race, in fairness. The only real incidents have been obviously on the start with Grumio and Imri, the spin with AT, the collision between Imri and Huff, and then Lucky's off at turn 2.
Yeah, they've kept it all very clean, which obviously what we'd like to see, particularly after chaos in Monaco Grand Prix. Yeah, those drivers are going a bit under the radar at the moment. TJ, Alva, and Tench all doing fantastically well.
Indeed, I'm sure Alva would like to get back on the podium if he can help it, and TJ will want to try and take a second place off of Pope, but likely all three of them will have one more stop to make in this Grand Prix. They've all been those same tyres with 32 laps, same with 10th behind them, but 10th 3 seconds back and coming under increasing pressure from Dan as he tries to fight back up. Seth Gamer his third penalty of the evening there for multiple warnings, so track limits not being kind to our friend in the Mercedes there, as in front of them JB and Lucky going side by side for P9 towards turn 1. JB wins out on this occasion. Curtis is on their tail, obviously managed to pass successfully laps ago and is now on the tail looking for points once again to put both Red Bull cars back in the points paying places. There goes Curtis.
Look at the traction.
That was very tense for a second there. I thought for a moment he wouldn't be able to pull it off without contact, but Curtis gets through up into P10. Can he go 2 for 1?
He moves in 3 corners.
So trying to take JB on the outside. And Red Bull.
Yeah, we won't allow that one through, will he?
He's on corner exit, I should think. JB's been the victim of a fair few passes around the outside. I'm sure he'd rather not have one more in that sense. They're side by side through turns 7 and 8. Curtis wins out, but JB will get DRS on corner exit. And a lot of batteries to spare as well, but so does Curtis. Curtis pulling away a little bit here. JB closing. Might go for a send into turn 10. Not going for it just yet, but DRS could open things up. Keep an eye on this fight towards the first corner.
Yeah, definitely. That could spice up as the race winds down towards the checkered flag now. Again, same situation with Ethan, although he's looking a bit closer to the kicks out of Hedwig Cook. But it's the same situation again where you just can't get close enough on the DRS stage. So I wonder if it's gone for more of a downforce setup.
Speaking of DRS, I'm seeing Alvaro has fallen away from TJ now in the 4th spot, and the rain is here at long last. It's taken us 40 laps, but the rain has come to the circuit. And it looks as though if it's here to stay, it looks quite heavy to start us off. Whether things could turn around quite quickly here, because we've seen that in the past. Not at this circuit, but I mean, I'll always quote a particular race in Canada, I believe back in season 16, I want to say, where the rain turned after a late safety car restart with about 7 laps to go, caught out most of the front runners and allowed Grovey and Imri to come through and take a 1-2 finish. For them, Grovey took her first career victory that day in the RDL. But Grumio, Dan, Pope, TJ, Alvar, the rest of the field now face the choice as to when to pit, if to pit at all. I mean, the tyres are quite worn for the majority of drivers here, so I should think any opportunity to try and get off them will be good for them, as Imri gets another penalty, 2 to his name now. It's been a tough afternoon for him. Perhaps the rain could play into his hands a little bit. I mean, given how quick he was in qualifying, but it depends how quickly the track turns, and if it does turn at all, for how long it stays for. Whether it's here for the duration, not too sure. But regardless, Ben, the rain has arrived, and we're in for another layer in this race.
Yeah, it's Lucky Lambert's first into the pit, so is Lucky going to bowl on a fresh set of slick tyres, or is he going to go straight to intermediates? The rain does look quite heavy.
Into the wing change.
Right, okay. Is that going to say the rain's getting heavy? Is DJ's also into the box?
I mean, that gives me the idea that rain is here to stay, at the very least. We'll see if DJ does the same thing, which I think he does.
That's now an unsafe release.
No. It's just that's just inconvenient timing in terms of one going in, one going out. I mean, ghosting.
Yeah.
So they can't really help, I suppose.
Fair enough. That's just the game being the game. Both go to intermediates. As we've got yellow flag. Is it Imri? Oh, as if it could get worse for Imri.
The pole sitter then struggling here in this final third, as we near the final third of the Grand Prix now. I should think we'll see him in this time for instead of Inters, but it looks like everyone else is staying out for the time being. Grumio didn't take it and did the Pope, TJ, Alvar, Dan. Dan's on the tail here of Alvar going towards turn 1, makes his move to the inside. But I imagine can't go as late on the brakes because of these increasing wet conditions, but Dan making it work against that 35 lap hold medium tyre of McLaren. Move Alvar down to P5 now. The chance of the podium slipping away here. Grumio's got a 10-second lead to Pope. It'll be up to Dan to try and close that down if he can towards the end of this race. But fresh tyres could come down to who's best in the wet conditions. And we'll see if Dan could gain anything. Should he get around TJ and Pope in a bit less time? But could this perhaps trigger? Could perhaps this trigger any mistakes and perhaps a late safety car? Imri's in, so Inter's on for him, I should think.
Got to be in for Inters.
Yeah, I say yeah.
Has to be.
Has to be, yeah. I mean, I don't think he's got any damage, so I think he should be alright in that sense. Oh no, he has lost an end plate, so that also plays into things for him. But no change made to that end plate. He's keeping that same wing on. So he recovers it.
I think about the crossover now, Zach, is it looks like the intermediates starting to perform better than the slicks.
So we're sort of reaching that changeover point now. You can sort of see it on the circuit. The rain's starting to stand a little bit more, and we'll see who comes in. It looks like for a second I thought TJ was trying to fake Dan, but hasn't done that. He's made his intentions come in anyway. Both Pope and TJ are in. 10th Cannon also in. Alvar going for one more lap on those medium tyres. We'll see if either driver live to regret that. That's the key question. Hayes-Bucher, I should imagine, should pit this time, as well Ethan. No, both cars. No, one car stays out, one comes in.
Ethan pits.
TJ intermediate tyres, 10 intermediate tyres, Pope intermediate tyres. Inters for all, Inters for everybody as they lead the pit lane and going on to their final stint this last third of the Grand Prix. 22 laps set to be going on these Inters, I should think. And we'll see who has the speed in this change of conditions. We'll see what we saw a sense of it in qualifying, and we'll see now who comes out on top. As Imri challenging, big lock up there, but challenging Lucky, sending both cars almost off the road completely there. But Imri gets through, and Courtney Goblin, who is still on the hard tyres, his next target. I should think that Courtney pits this time.
Oh no, Courtney's off.
Slide up in the gravel then, and didn't rejoin. Good safety there from. Slide from DJ. I thought he was about to go around there. The oversteer not working too well for him on that Aston Martin. The car seems quite oversteering now for him as Lucky Lambert makes his move on Imri again towards turn 1, backs out of it. Trying to force Imri into an error, can't do it. Romeo now pitting.
So he's done.
So there we go then. Changes being made then. These last stops to the Grand Prix for everyone. Alvar coming in. Hayes-Bucher Cook, the only car aside from that to still be out on a set of Inters here. Pope looks to try and gain a little bit here if he can. Stick at the inside of Hayes-Bucher Cook on corner exit into turn number 13. It's close, but he's cleared him. Actually, I think we see the Sauber in this time. Yes, in he comes.
He needed the box now. Is he going to lose the position to Ethan?
I should think he might potentially. It's going to be quite close. DRS now disabled,
Yes,
so change
okay.
made.
Everybody is now on the green striped intermediate tyres. I like to suspect once HP Cook goes into the box.
So obviously Sauber that very last pit box here as they come in to make their change. Final stop, you are right, Ben. Intermediate tyres going on. Everyone's on the Inters now, and this will be case until the end of the Grand Prix. Pope still in second place, Dan in third. No DRS to help.
Ethan does get the jump.
Oh, yes, he has. Yes, good eye.
He had to get that done. He was nowhere near going to do it on the track, but he's been able to do it in the pits. Now it's all down to Cook.
We'll see then what the Sauber driver can do with 1 lap fresher tyres, and we'll see if anyone make any gains later on this race. JB, bit of a slide there into turn 1. He's got obsessed on his tail, but everyone's obviously obsessed. Has 9 seconds to think about, so penalty-wise, I think JB's good for a points pay in place here. Everyone outside of the points has a penalty as it stands, so I should think the top 10 are likely locked in short of any late errors. Unless Obsessed can close it and gain 9 seconds on JB, it would be a big ask, but you never know.
Anything could happen.
I feel like I recognise the way you said that. That sounds like
That's why I've heard that song before.
Say guess.
I don't know. I was swear I've heard a song before about that, but I may be wrong.
I'm going to ask you about that when the stream's over, because I've got an idea, but I don't want to say it on here.
Okay.
Actually, no. You know what? I will say it on here. Was that an old Barney song you're referencing? Because I feel like I've heard that song before.
It may well be.
We're going to talk about this when the stream's over, Ben. Okay.
Oh, brilliant.
Right, okay. You and I have done it again, and we'll keep our focus on what's going on the circuit now. With just over 20 laps to go, it'll be exactly 20 when Grumio next hits the line. Oh, and 10th off in the
What
grass.
happened there, 10th?
I mean, I didn't see contact. I don't think there was contact. But TJ's P4
So
outright.
millimeters, if indeed they didn't make contact, but that was close.
Close indeed. Close does not begin to cover it. But 10th out back down to P6 again. And TJ and Alvar go ahead on their own. And DJ's out.
DJ's out.
In the pit lane.
In the pits. Oh.
We also think of a safety car there, Ben.
No, as we have Courtney off. Again.
So we're about.
Same place.
Same place. Gravel again.
Courtney off, same place, 6 to 3.
Well, there we go then. The exit at turn 12, not being overly kind then to the Ferrari driver of Courtney Goblin as DJ calls it a day then. Tough day for Aston Martin. Both their drivers going out of the race for differing reasons, it seems, but never really. I mean, DJ, in all seriousness, never really got going. Especially obviously qualifying didn't pan out. The race hasn't really gone his way either. But we'll see if he can bounce back next week. But a second non-point score in the last 2 races.
Yeah. Well, look, times can change a lot in World Formula 1. You can go from all of a sudden having podium to not being able to score points regularly. So I've had it before where you start off quite badly and all of a sudden reverts into a podium. Last race of the season, we've got a bit of fire between TJ and Alvar.
Yeah, guys, so they were side by side, dead even through turn 3. Alvar's got the wider line, but TJ's got the inside on corner exit. They'll swap over
They're
to turn
holding
5.
it.
If Alvar can keep his nose in there, locks up a
No
little
one's
bit.
giving an inch.
Oh, it's close here, but I mean, the outside always got the better exit at turn 5, and TJ demonstrating that once again here, passing Alvar, or rather holding on to the 4th spot. And there we go then. So,
A little bit
very close stuff for close quarters.
Yeah. As they say that though, 10th was massively caught up.
There we go then. Those two going side by side have brought 10th back into the matter for P4. Big 12 points on the line here. If 10th can get herself into that 4th position behind them, or rather ahead of them, Dan is still chasing Pope. All the while, Grumio stretches down to a 13-second lead. He's got it all to himself at this point. And it wouldn't surprise me if he goes for one last sort of ego stop, as he did at Imola just 2 weeks ago, to try and go for another race win in that way.
I don't think that's gonna happen if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, I mean, thing is, I thought I'd seen everything from Grumio, truthfully, but I'd never see it. In all the time I've been here in the RDL, until that race, I'd never seen him do anything like that in terms of going for a stop which purely seemed, but given that he bolted on a set of soft tyres and had no real concern aside from that, that to me seemed like a stop on ego alone, and he managed to pull it off, to be fair to him, so respect to him for doing that. But yeah, I'd never seen him do that before, so definitely a fresh one. He continues to surprise me, even at season 20.
Yeah, it's 20 seasons in, we think we've seen everything. No doubt something else will pop out that will shock us from Grumio.
That's just how motor racing is, and we love it to absolute bits. Imri still holding off Lucky Lambo there in P12, 5.4 back from Obsessed, who himself is about second behind JB. Obviously, Imri would need to close on those two, make passes, and then pull 6 seconds. It's been a tough race, I think, to put it mildly, for the Pulsars today.
Yeah, he's not being able to recover either, to be fair. He's just been almost disheartened, obviously, with the, I say disheartened, is in a bit. Just unlucky in a way with the contact with Hull for that same round into pit lane, had to fit again. Obviously, with the guys they were chasing, he were miles behind, but those in front of him were in DRS trains, so that didn't help him out. I felt like anything that could go wrong has gone wrong for him.
And yeah, and to be fair to him, he continues to strive on. He may still end up with a point or two at the end of this race. You never know. We could still see something happen in these final 17 laps, but I'm sure. But obviously, he's not where he'd like to be, which is up here with Grumio fighting for the lead. It's still 13.6 seconds. The Grumio's lead has sort of stagnated a little bit in terms of how much he was gaining. But Dan is still chasing Pope, not quite going for a move just yet. Pope a bit of a wider line there through turn 4. So Dan may gain a little bit, but not enough just yet to go for a move. So we'll wait in line and we'll see if those two make any change at all.
Obviously, it may only be a matter of time, but it may also be something like what we've had with Cook and Ethan, where they struggled to get past one another.
Might be, and we saw obviously that those two went at it for quite a while, but Dan this time, let's try and settle it this time around. He's quite close to Pope. He's right on his gearbox going towards turn 10. He's going to try the inside this time. Even think he might have heard us. They're close to contact, with both cars keeping it away from each other. Pope's on the inside for turn 12 here, but we'll see how the outside handles on corner exit. I think through the corner, the inside has the edge without a shadow of a doubt. And Pope can't quite shut the door on Dan. Dan stood up into him for a second there. Slight tap to the back left tyre of that Williams. But as they round turn 14, it's Pope again in control. Both cars
Going
are
up to that
battery.
somebody.
Lucky enough to lap Courtney Goblin in the Ferrari as they head towards that first corner. Courtney backs off, lets them both go. Dan just not close enough. Both cars using battery. And without that bonus of DRS, it's not looking too good for him. So it looks like third place for the moment, at least the next few laps. So he's going to slide there through turn 2, but holds on to it.
That was probably Dan's best chance of at least the next few laps, because obviously now he's got to cover, try and go again. But he's also got to try and understand where Pope is struggling the majority and where Dan can pull a bit of traction. He gets a bit stuck on a curve there and actually sends him a bit up into the air, but he manages to hold it on the track.
So both cars then keeping it nice and clean here. I mean, fair play going through turn 10 last time round. Obviously Pope gave him the space to allow him to make that challenge. We'll see they're as nice to each other this time round as they go towards the 10th turn, leaving turn 9 and down on what was the DRS straight about a few laps ago, not anymore now. That rain doesn't look to be getting any lighter, we'll say that. I mean, it's not getting any heavier, but not any lighter either. Both cars sliding through turn 11 there. So keep an eye on those. We'll come back to them later on. It's still a 3-car train behind them for P4. TJ still leads Alvar in 10th. No change to be made there. Ethan still leading HB Cook since the pit stops. Curtis by himself, 5.4 back from the Sauber, but equally 2.7 in front of JB. Obsessed 2 back, Imrie 3 back. And it's Lucky Lambert in behind Imrie, and Courtney Goblin a long way away, having made the stop last of all. Obviously, he had a few runs to the gravel today. Imrie 4 stops in this race. That's something to keep an eye out for. But he's still carrying on.
Fair play to him, but it would have been so easy to just give up and call it quits for tonight, but he's kept going, so credit to him.
And we'll see here who else will be able to make the checkered flag in tonight's race. We've still got 14 cars in the running. Obviously, we've lost DJ, Huff, AT, and PJ in this race. PJ we lost very early on. AT we lost initially after that spin, and then we obviously had the spin, brought the safety car, and we lost him. We lost both Huff and DJ in the same way.
Yeah, we did, yeah. So it's a bit of a double DNF for Aston Martin. Obviously not what they were expecting coming into Barcelona. I think both of them had pretty good pace. Obviously DJ had his incident, and then Huff was running remarkably well and then got put back through lag. So it's not what you like to see, but this is Formula 1. This is what sports like. Sometimes you've got to build up and recover from it and go again in the next one.
That next race to mind being the Canadian Grand Prix, if memory does serve. I have to double check on my calendar here. If I have a quick look. Yes, Canada. So 2nd of February, that's our next race. It should be quite an exciting one. Canada, and then Silverstone. Of course, we're skipping out Austria for the minute of this season until the last race, as we did last season with Silverstone. Reverse good finale on a reverse circuit. That'd be quite exciting. I mean, Austria always... I'm looking forward, Ben, to when you get to commentate your first Austrian race here in the RDL, because obviously you've been in the race. You know how chaotic it is at the Red Bull Ring. So we'll see if it is as enjoyable as Alvar goes for a move now on TJ. For the first one cut while these two side by side towards turn 1. Alvar's got the inside for turn 2. It's going to be tight to pair of them here, Ben, but it looks as though TJ's going to win out again.
What is this outside line? All of a sudden the outside line just... Oh, wow.
Alvar comes back at TJ into turn 4. We'll see if the outside line holds this time. I don't think it will. But TJ can keep his nose in there all he likes, but no, it seems not. Alvar back into 4th place.
I've got a little squabble there for the start of sector 1, but obviously 10th is right there. And
Dan are going to change their contact to Dan and Pope. Side by side for 2nd spot as well as turn 10. Sorry to cut you off, Ben, but these two are going at it. Contact again.
More contacts. Pope is half round.
And Dan is clear, but Alvar penalty now.
Alvar.
Wide at turn 9, that's cost him. Yellow flags out, so that'll be just the Ferrari backing off.
Yeah.
So Pope back into 2nd place, sorry then. But Dan with another good chance trying to take Pope here. ERS in both cars. Pope's got more of it, so we'll pull away a little bit. Getting those crucial few thousands, but Dan with the slipstream is still there. Might he go for it into turn 1? He's going to go for it. He's going to try it at the first corner. Goes to contact. They do make contact. But Pope stays in front just. Good gravy, this is close.
That were close. I won't lie. It could have also been race ending. So in the end, I think that's cost down a lot more than what we were anticipating. But he goes again. There's another 14 laps left to this.
Man, as you said last time, last time Dan went for it, Ben, he's got obviously sort of wind himself back up again, like a clockwork toy, and just sort of try and push himself into a chance where he can take advantage, like a jack in the box almost. I'm making weird twin analogies now, so I'm gonna stop doing those. We're gonna carry on. In terms of what's going further back, I mean, Ethan and HB Cook are still nose to tail with each other. There's only about a few tenths covering those two drivers, but there's been no real action from them for now. That rain has taken over the circuit massively here. Curtis is still in P9, but JB is closing the gap to him now. So we could see a late change here, as those two might go for P9 again. Obsessed in P11. He's got Imri on his tail now. Imri 1.2 back from the Mercedes driver. So could be looking at a change for P11. I mean, Imri shouldn't have that place regardless, because Obsessed has got 3 seconds penalties more than Imri does. But saying that, Lucky Lambert might take both places, because he's only got 3 seconds himself. So Lucky in a position to try and gain some more places. And who knows, if one of the cars in front, either JB or Curtis, gets a penalty or two towards the end, we could see him looking at his first points this season, if things go well for him.
Yeah, we could do indeed.
Alvar, I think, has taken the message now to try and get out of Dodge, because he is pulling out a gap here. He's almost a second in front of TJ. He's got to gain 2 more in the next 12 laps in order to hold on to 4th place. So we'll see what he does and see what risk he's willing to take to try and pull away. And we'll see if 10th can get herself involved as well against TJ in the hunt for those 10 points.
I'm just looking for that outside of points now. Obviously, he's got the penalty. He's had a bit of a disaster tonight, but just got lucky. Just made matters worse closing up to him.
Lucky's kept himself nasty within that 1 second range, in and around that 1 second range. Imri himself also now within about 6 to 7 tenths of Obsessed, as they round turns 2 and now 3. But if he wants to try and get himself towards the points, to try and at least finish in the top 10, he's going to try and get there sooner rather than later. But Curtis and JB fighting for P9 could open things up for both those two cars. So there's the gap you saw there briefly as I went through turn 4, from that nice little overhead shot of the corner. JB is challenging Curtis. He's there in behind. Imri will want to try and get up to Obsessed as soon as he can, and trying to avoid Lucky getting any closer than he already is. He's less than half a second back, so that Ferrari wanting to be involved here. But Lucky's obviously got 3 seconds of his own, so it makes things a lot harder in terms of trying to take points thinking about it. Realistically, I shouldn't think he'll finish any higher than P11 in that sense, but you never know. We could see something later on. I mean, are Curtis and Ben close to any penalties at all, Ben? Curtis and JB, sorry?
Let's have a look. JB is done remarkably well tonight. One lie, he's only got the 1 warning up to now. Sorry, 2 warnings. I missed that one. Further later down the line, it's just nearly had down game for a moment. Curtis is just on the 1.
So 1 warning for Curtis, 2 for JB. So JB's obviously closer than Curtis is in that sense. So keep an eye out for any mistakes that he might make in the battle for that last points paying place. Imri is close here to Obsessed, but he's got way less battery, so he's gaining a little bit, but not enough to go for a move just yet. It may be another lap or 2 before he gets a chance to make that pass. But ahead of them is still Alvar leading by 1.3 now to TJ in 5th place, so not enough just yet for TJ to pull away, but it's about 2 seconds to 10th, so you may get one spot, perhaps, but not the other. That might be the case later on in the Grand Prix. That's still a very realistic conclusion. He's got about 1.5 now, so he's got 10 laps to gain 1.5 seconds on 2 cars behind him, trying to have himself a 4th place finish.
He's going for it. It's not holding back. I won't lie.
I mean, Alvar's been looking for a finish like this for quite a while, so I don't blame him at all for going for it. This could be the highlight of his season, perhaps, with a good enough finish. I have to see. Obviously, saying that, I mean, he always comes alive towards the latter stages of the season. Quite the opposite of Oscar Piastri in real life. The opposite of the Australian in that sense. He comes alive sort of around circuits like Brazil, that sort of thing. So we'll see if Alvar does carry on here to continue gaining some more time and looking into securing that big finish, which will be huge for McLaren. That will, again, double their tally in the Constructors' Championship and actually put them level with Aston Martin, should they pull it off, level for 8th place.
Fair enough, good on McLaren. I think they'd do it. And what were we saying about JB having a time penalty?
We said JB's won 2 warnings. He's now had a 3rd, so there he is. JB time penalty as Dan this time making the pass on Pope. They're side by side towards turn 9. This could be a tough place to go for it, and Pope knows that.
I tell you, what a move.
Down on the outside there, yeah, fantastic pass to Imri. Now finally taking Obsessed, but goes wide and almost off the circuit completely there. Sorry, goes deep in turn 2. Obsessed gets back around him. And Imri, I imagine, we're getting frustrated in that cockpit. If he wasn't frustrated already, with 9 laps to go, there's still an outside chance he can get himself towards the points, perhaps. You never know, but JB has made his task a bit easier. He only need to gain 3 seconds on JB now, and provided he doesn't get any more penalties of his own.
Yeah, it looks like JB maybe actually similar to the done for Lucky Lambert now breaks up his penalty. He's second to the evening.
That may cost Lucky a little bit in terms of gaining some points in this race. The situation actually about the same for him because he still needs to gain 3 on JB. Same sort of thing as JB might try and challenge Curtis here into turn number 10. Curtis locks up a little bit, giving JB the chance to sneak in on the inside over the outside of turn 12. It's quite close between them here. Curtis is going to beat him out on this occasion. Out of turn 12 and towards 13, it is Curtis in control of P9 still. Can Imri take Obsessed this time? I think it needs to be this time down the main straight or not at all, realistically.
Yeah, and we've got to go for it now, but I get the feeling that Imri's just wanting to see this checker flag as soon as humanly possible.
I'd say so, but I mean, Obsessed had a lot more battery and a far better exit out of turn 14 that time, so it looks as though he'll hold on to it for a little bit longer.
He's trying to go for it.
Did you always think he was going to send it there, Ben?
Yeah. I thought he was actually gonna go for that, but obviously the door came shut quite quickly, and now he's so close up to the point where he's actually getting oversteer from the Mercedes.
So he's sliding off line there for a matter of moments. So very, very touchy stuff. You've got to have your wits about you on a wet track. I mean, the tracks. I mean, obviously a line is sort of formed in the obviously on the track surface. So everyone knows where to follow, and it's again, like you said during qualifying, Ben, you either follow that line or find yourself a nice, comfortable appointment with the barriers. There's one or two options, realistically. I'm adding that to the old repertoire for these conditions, because I actually quite like that.
Right, fair enough. That's there's like no between. If either you hit the barrier, or you find the puddle and hit the barrier, or you stay on the line.
It's really quite simple, yeah. Well, I thought for a second JB was going to try something into turn 12, but didn't. He's still right behind Curtis there. In front of Dan has pulled 1.8 seconds to Pope, so that battle looks all but over. TJ still 1.3 back from Alvar. Ethan and HB Cook still by themselves. They're just lapping Cottony Goblin now. HB Cook is still waiting, I think, for the right time to try and pass Ethan. And Curtis is still battling with JB. Imri still behind Obsessed, and Lucky Lambert looking quite close as well. So things looking dangerous for these guys. And now that they are sort of trying to reel in JB and Curtis, that could mean a tasty end to this Grand Prix and the hump of that last point, but I think JB should still get it.
Yeah, judging on the 3 second time penalty as well.
Unless he gets the second one, that'll open things up massively. Curtis goes for a different line there. JB tries the inside now into turn number 5, but again, outside lane wins out, and Curtis.
What do you think with this outside line?
Yeah, it's just a place to be around the circuit, I suppose.
Must be. Turn 5 worked very well. It goes wide again.
Curtis giving JB all the chances in the world to try and go for an attack, but JB waiting for the prime moment. Obviously, he's a very experienced driver, the most experienced in the league in terms of starts in this championship. He knows he's seen a lot in his time running this league.
At what point do you actually... Oh, is this it? No, is it? I don't know. At what point do you actually just try and force your way past? It must be so frustrating being behind somebody for so many laps.
I mean, you'd know, wouldn't you?
Yes. yeah, albeit I didn't keep my color composed. Normally I'd turn up in a crash and unsue both out the race.
That's the other thing, yeah. I'd say, to answer your question about it, I'd say the final lap, I'd say no earlier than that. Imri now challenging Obsessed and might get him at long last here. Yes, it's been a long chase for Imri. And remember, he was in P16 when this whole charge started. He's up to P11 now. 1.6 behind JB. But he's
Obsessed going to come back in it.
Yeah, he's going to come back at Ben. It's going to be close towards turn 4, but Obsessed knows better than that. Stays behind. But it's got to be on his toes here when trying to challenge that Sauber. But JB now lies in front of Imri and attempts to try and nab the last point on offer in this race as we are on lap 60 in this Grand Prix. Grumio It's quite a quiet run, but he's got his lead to 15 seconds now, and looks to be on course to win this Grand Prix. It's been frankly a dominant race, but again, all sort of stemming from the collision with the pole sitter Imrie on the first lap. But obviously, what a start he made to the Grand Prix. Let's not forget that, as he looks towards his 6th win from 9. Yellow flag is out. That's just Courtney Goblin.
Oh, it's been lapped. Unfortunately, we can't seem to see blue flags. We only get yellow flags and green flags, and occasionally yellow and red.
I'm pretty sure I've seen them show up on the tab, on the timing tab before, so I'm not entirely sure what that's about.
Really? Oh, I've never seen one. The rain looks to be getting a bit heavier. I won't lie, Zach.
A little bit here, yes, but I doubt we've got enough time left to warrant a change onto wet tyres at this stage of the Grand Prix. I can see Grumio putting them on for a laugh, but again, the whole thing is that Imrie has just opened up completely as to what he might do with a lead. That's all I'm going to say. But he's 6 laps away from winning now.
Yeah, it must be quite infuriating where you got a driver who's that far up the road, is able to pit, and is still able to win the race.
Yeah, I say it's easier in dry conditions than it is in wet conditions. I say that at the very least, because you've got to be on the right tyres for that. Dry tyres, you've got 3 different compounds to think about, but the wet tyres, you can only really utilise either one of the 2 compounds when the conditions are right, and you can't always guarantee that.
Yeah.
We are now on lap 61 of this Grand Prix. Grumio is on course for victory here, and he's looked comfortable the entirety of the race. Oh, on a random thing, I'm just looking at my clock I've got in the top left corner of my monitor, and the timing on the OBS count how long I've been live for. I think I've actually hit the live button exactly 7 o'clock, which is a rarity for me. I don't think I've ever done that before. In my sort of 4 years of doing this, I don't think I've ever actually done that in time.
Well, there's a first for everything.
Yeah. I might have done it before. I'm pretty sure I must have used. I'm pretty sure I used to try and time it to the mark, but this was completely random. But again, it's a select Grand Prix. We've reached the point now where we're sort of rambling about different stuff. I mean, Ben, you reckon it's funny scenario, so we're going to have to talk about that when it's all over. But
brilliant.
10th Cannon in P6 still. She's still holding on to that one, but almost a second behind TJ now. Alvaro's not pulled away in any capacity. There'll be 5 laps left when he crosses the line, but he's still 1.3 in front of TJ. He's going to need a bit more than that if he wants to try and beat 10th to the flag and take P5. But it's looking like P6 for him for now. And TJ obviously holding up for so long, and I'm guessing that's just forced him into an error in the end, playing into his hands. So TJ is going to run out of P4 unless something goes wrong for him in his final 5 laps of this race. But I shouldn't think we should do. I think everyone should be okay from here. And Imrie's on the tail of JB and Curtis now. Let's keep an eye on that.
Yeah, in fact, yeah, it's probably the closest fight we've got at the moment. As for Ethan and Cook, wait, never mind.
Oh, you fucking get better.
The commentators go strikes again. Oh, that's got to be another warning for him, surely. He's just completely cut to 11.
Yeah, I say that last one you probably can't help, to be honest. You were midway through talking. It happens. Yeah, but regardless though, JB, I think Imrie is still gonna want P9 on track. I think at the very minimum for him, and he should still finish in front of Obsessed, and he may still finish in front of Lucky if he can keep himself. He can pull away enough in these last 5 laps. I have to see what he can do with some clean air around him. Obviously, those intermediate tyres, he's done them for a long time. He's seen a lot stronger on the inters than he has anything else today, if nothing else.
Yeah. It's so difficult to make a move on the intermediates and for wet tyres for that measure as well. It's just so much harder in the rain. We've seen it before with lots of Haley Cook and Ethan, and then of course with RR, TJ 10th. Pope and Dan took a bit of time to swap positions, but yeah, it is just naturally harder to make a move in the wet.
To be fair, I feel bad for for a while I feel bad for Curtis. Curtis was by himself for a fair bit, but obviously now has all this gone on behind him. Everyone's sort of been wrapped up in some sort of scrap in this Grand Prix. The only person I feel bad for is Courtney Goblin, who's sort of been going around by himself. But he's continuing on, and perhaps in hopes that something will go wrong for somebody in these last few laps. I mean, you never know. We could see JB, Imrie, Obsessed, and Lucky all collide, and then Courtney Goblin comes home a point scorer. You never know.
You never know. That's Formula 1 for you.
That's probably a bit too extreme for Formula 1. Well, I don't know. We'll sit and watch. That is our job. Imrie's still chasing JB down, but I'm not sure how much he's pushed those intermediate tyres. He's sliding around so much in these conditions. I'm not sure if it's a case of his tyres are wearing thin after pushing them too much, or if the circuit is just wet enough now to the point where the Inters are struggling. I'm not too sure there, but there's still 3.5 laps to go, or make that 3 when Grumio crosses the line in a matter of moments. So those guys almost a lap down completely here. Grumio has charged away, and Dan's actually closed the gap a little back down to 13 seconds, but not enough here in these last 3 laps to keep him from winning the race.
Yeah, I mean, the gaps came down quite a lot as I've just seen him go for a bit of a Tokyo drift for turn 3. But yeah, the gap's come down a bit. I think it were at 17 seconds at one point, so it's coming down a few seconds here and there. I wonder if Guru was just trying to hunt his way, or it's just a little bit of concentration here and there, which is that's normal to do over such a long distance. In such grueling conditions with nobody around you, it's hard to maintain focus for so long.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. Up with the slide there for Dan through turn 4. Yeah, I wonder if these intermediate tyres are perhaps reaching their wits' end now, so I had to keep an eye out for any late slides in this race. It's still JB hanging on to that last point. Obviously, despite having the 3 seconds, he should still hang on over all 3 of the cars behind him. The only question being, I mean, Imri will finish in front of Obsessed in the final order. The question is, will he finish in front of Lucky too? He might well finish in front of Lucky, who's falling away here, despite having 3 seconds more. So, Imri may still finish in the 11th position.
Everyone is just drifting. I think is the best way to describe it. It is full wet conditions now, no doubt about it.
Just saying we can't go for a bit longer, really. Grumio 2 laps to go here. He's crossed the line. He's been fantastic in this Grand Prix. It has to be said. I mean, obviously things have worked out nicely from the safety car. Obviously, he didn't pit the first lap round, didn't really help him in his favour, but obviously took it on the chin, made use of it, came back and pitted again, came on these intermediate tyres. Obviously, he's been controlling the lead since, and just opened things up, and he's got himself back up to 14 seconds again. Dan's pulled 10 seconds to Pope, so the pace has been there for Dan all evening. Same thing for Pope. He's 12 seconds in front of Alvar, who again is still 1.3 ahead of TJ. And I mean, is TJ close to a penalty at all, Ben? Do we know?
TJ, I will quickly check that now. I will, funnily enough, checking Grumio to see if he's anywhere near a penalty. Believe it or not, this TJ has gone the entirety of the race with having just 1 warning.
That's not bad at all. You've got to respect that. As Lucky Lambert gets a penalty there for himself, and that will likely cap off where these guys from 11th through 13th finish. The only thing is, can Imri try and get around JB in these closing moments? You can't score any points at this stage unless JB or Curtis spin. That might be his only hope, but as it stands right now, it's looking good. It's looking good for JB.
I just don't think I've just seen him drive quite far off the track, whether he's just lost all hope but that's just going to lose in the position to what maybe Obsessed and one maybe Lucky Lambert. I'll tell you what's going to hurt for Imri. Has he been lapped?
He has not yet, but Grumio is on the last lap and he's closing on his guy, but I shouldn't think he should catch up to be lapped. The only person who's been lapped in this race is Courtney Goblin, and Lucky Lambert's next in line to be lapped. I think Grumio might catch him before the end here, but whether he tries to get around him, I wouldn't risk it this late on in the Grand Prix. I think Grumio's only objective now is just be to bring the car home nice and simple, no drama, and just take win number 6 in style.
Yeah, I tell you what, it would really hurt, and it would put a salt into the wound for him if it were to be lapped through Grumio, but those are Lucky Lambert, just keep out of the way.
So Courtney Goblin, Lucky Lambert goes a lap down. Both cars have been lapped today. It's been a tough day for them. On a day which looked better for them earlier on in the Grand Prix, but Grumio rounds turn 9 for the last time here. Checkered flag will be up for these guys in a lap's time. They've still got another one to do, so they won't finish the Grand Prix just yet. Only Grumio will come through, and then Lucky and Courtney will be taking the checkered flag P13, P14. And Grumio then has dominated things as he has done in recent weeks, but this time no penalties at the minute to tie him over, and a 10-second penalty won't stop him now. Final corner now, 2 corners left for Grumio. It'll be win number 6 of the campaign, another one for his illustrious tally. Salve Grumio rounds the final corner and wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Victory for him, taking wins in all 3 100% races so far this season. Lucky Lambert, P12 there, crossing the line at the end of the Grand Prix. Courtney Goblin, likely same thing in a matter of moments. Second place goes to Dan, 14 seconds back in the end, but still a fantastic drive from him. P2 to P2, and taking the flag, and should like to take second place in the Drivers' Championship as well. Back off Imri after winning last week. It's a second straight podium for him. Pope last corner, hangs on for a podium. I say hangs on, he's controlled things quite nicely in third place there. Across the line, led earlier on. Did a solid job today. Good job for Pope. And that run of tracks that he enjoys very much in Europe
Oh.
continues on.
And we did get JB.
Oh, he's got him there. There we go. Right, well, a
One
late
for
change.
2-4.
I mean, it won't be for anything points-wise, but Imri will get him around him. And TJ in 4th place, 10th P5, Alvar P6. The run continues on for 10th. Good finish for her. TJ, obviously, fantastic finish for him. Alvar for some great points from McLaren. That'll take them up to 18 points for the season. Still 4 behind Aston Martin. Ethan is going to win out over win out over HB Cook. P7, P8, these two are still going at it. It's been quite quiet. They've been nose to tail the entirety of the race here, pretty much in his last stint. But Ethan has soaked up the pressure quite nicely. Soaked in both a literal and a metaphorical sense there, given the rain. But final corner for both those two cars now to cap things off. And towards the checkered flag, Ethan P7, HB Cook P8, Curtis in P9, Imri trying to take him to the last corner here.
He's going to get him here.
Curtis
Oh, it just misses out.
Imri falls to P12 with the flag. Obsessed P11, and JB in the end does go home with the final point. Well, there you go then. That was the Spanish Grand Prix. Fantastic race there. Ben, we made it to the end of another one of these. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah. I think it was good at stage. Just started to die off as the rain came in. There's not much on track action. Obviously, we got that little bit at the end. We had a few little scraps here and there during the wet, but naturally it's harder to overtake in the wet. And but credit to everyone who's finished the race. These races are really long.
So Grumio wins it then from Dan and Pope. Those three making up the podium once again. All three of them successfully traversing the rain in a fantastic race today. Very enjoyable to watch from all three of them as always. Grumio increased his lead in the World Championship. TJ takes home 4th place in the end. Fantastic drive for the trio of TJ 10th and Alvar P4 through P6 for them. Ethan P7, and it's HB Cook P8. Curtis 9th, and JB rounds at your top 10. Another point on the board for RB. Obsessed P11, Imri in P12. Tough day for him. Tough day for the Sauber team as a whole. Lucky P13, Cotley Goblin P14. Both those guys finishing laps down in the end. DJ, Huff, AT, and PJ all failed to finish this Grand Prix. It's difficult days for the 4 of them. And that'll do it then in terms of on-track action. And we're looking here shortly at post-race interviews after what was a very enjoyable Grand Prix. Yeah, I mean, fun stuff all around. I mean, obviously we got the rain in the end, so it did come. We had a feeling that it was going to come, and good thing we were right, Ben, because we may have looked very stupid otherwise, because that can happen sometimes.
Yeah, it does happen. Obviously, commentators Curtis came in a couple of times.
We
does happen with the rain.
We won't worry too much about it, but we'll surely get someone in for post-race interviews in a matter of moments here. And if not, obviously we'll cap things off stream-wise. But yeah, it's been a fun one. These 100% races are always enjoyable, at least from our perspective. I think yeah, you'd have to agree with me, Ben. And obviously our next 100% Grand Prix will be in another 4 rounds' time. That will be round 13 of the championship, but that'll be taking place at the Hungarian Grand Prix. So 70 laps at the Hungaroring.
Oh, lovely.
Canada next week. That's the one to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, Canada's not very good one, along with Silverstone, I do believe.
Yep, Silverstone next up.
Belgium will be there at some point or another. I think that was just after. Is that just after Hungary? Am I missing a race, Zach?
So yeah, no. So we've got Canada next week, Silverstone, then Belgium, and then Hungary. Those are our runs.
Fair enough. Hungary is normally one for eating up the tyres, so let's be prepared for what could be 2 or 3 stop race that one.
We'll have to focus on that in a couple of weeks' time, though. But for now, we have got Dan in. Dan, welcome into the commentary box. 2nd place for you on the day. A long race, but obviously you got through it once again with another fantastic finish. You're getting good at these 100% races, has to be said.
Yeah, I've always been a fan. I've always been a fan of longer races. I think it's better than full qualifying. You're just more involved all the time, and it opens up strategy and everything. So I'm a bigger fan of them than the 50%. But yeah, P2, I'm happy with it. Annoyed that I got stuck behind Pope for so long because he was costing me a lot of time. But yeah, I made a mistake on my in lap that let him in, and yeah, it was a good race with him in the end. And yeah, if I was told I would take P2 beforehand, I would have absolutely snatched it.
Fair enough. I mean, obviously the fight of Pope was fantastic to watch. I mean, if you cleared him sooner, do you think you would have had a chance at Grumio for the win, perhaps, or was that not ready on today?
If I wasn't behind him on my outlaps, then maybe it depends, because at the end of it, I wasn't catching Grumio by enough, I think, and I have sort of forgotten by the amount I came out behind Grumio. I think it was putting the hards on in that second stint. I didn't pit under the safety car, so I think it was putting the hards on instead of the mediums. I literally pit, and then they go, "Oh, rain's going to be coming in 15, 20 minutes." So I was asking constantly before that whether it was coming, and so I put on the hards, and then it was just, "Oh, there's rain coming soon." It was like, damn. So yeah, if I put on the mediums instead of the hards, it might have been a better shout. But yeah.
I did want to ask you about that first stint. Obviously, the safety car came out. Was the plan always to try and run along the medium tyres?
Yeah, I wanted track position. I felt like my pace was quite good on the mediums. They didn't feel too worn, and everybody else had gone from the softs onto a different compound, and then Curtis ended up behind me, and he's usually got a good train behind him most races. So yeah, I thought I'll try and just get some track position here, and it was probably the right decision for me in the end, I think, actually.
Fair enough. Right, well, to me, obviously, this race over. Moving on to next week's race in Canada. What's the outlook for Canada as a circuit?
Yeah, I enjoyed driving Canada. I got my first podium in Idle here, so yeah, I've always got a soft spot for it, but I need to. I don't feel as if my strongest races of the season are at Canada. It's usually at strange places that I tend to dislike, like COTA. So yeah, we'll have to see how it goes when we get there.
Looking forward to it. Well, obviously, good job today on the podium, second podium in 2 races, so not bad a run for you at all. Move on now to 10th Cannon, who came home in the 5th position. 10th, it carries on once again for you. Another 5th place finish. We happy with that?
What the hell is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas? Yes, I'm very happy with that.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Bit of an unorthodox race, to be honest. I think a lot could have gone wrong, but somehow nothing did. I had a feeling I could, if I was like a little bit quicker, I could have maybe got higher than where I did. But I mean, I don't dwell on what could have been. I dwell on what I have, which is the top 5 again. So I'm more than happy with that.
Fair enough. I mean, obviously, you're locked into a long battle with TJ and my memory's already gone.
Alvar.
Yeah, that's the one, Alvar. Yes. I mean, yeah, that was quite. Look, it's been a long race. Okay. Yeah, it's fantastic scrap to watch between you 3. Did you enjoy that one?
Oh yeah. It was hard because like in the rain, well, in the dry, it's hard to get close to other drivers at the best of time, and then it's even harder in the rain because you haven't got DRS. So it was kind of hard to keep with them, let alone try and pass them. But yeah, I thought it was quite fun. The main game today was trying to keep the car under control. That was quite hard, but definitely possible, as I think we showed.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, and I mean, moving on to next week in Canada, I'll ask you again, as I have done for several weeks now. Can this hot streak continue, or wait, is it a hot streak now, or is it just like is this what you expect from you?
I haven't been out the point since not Canada, sorry, China. So I think that's pretty good. I don't know. I think this is going to be quite a fun one for me because this is the first full-time race I did. This obviously was the first race I did back since my pseudo-retirement. Then Canada, I was back in the Red Bull. So I think I can do pretty good. Definitely better than I did last season. I think I finished 10th last season. So hopefully I can get a bit higher than that. I'm feeling pretty good, though.
10th place or higher for 10th Cannon. That is the objective going into next week.
Yes,
we'll move
sir.
now to HP Cooker, comes home P8 in the running order, just behind Ethan at the checkered flag. HP Cooker, good race, mate. I was letting you know, you were my prediction for this week's race, so thank you for doing me quite nicely on that. Yeah, I mean, obviously changeable conditions in the Grand Prix. You want to talk us through it from your perspective?
Also, please, like dirty air hell. That's 3 words I can really describe. I think had a decent quality, like a push car, mats in rain, had a dry set up on us. You never know the approximate weather. You don't know what to expect. Tried pushing it at the start, behind 10th for most straight, and then we had some of the tyres who decided that they wanted to fight like at the end of their lives, which fair dues to them. They did a trophy hero of the race, but it is what it is. It cost me loads of time against him, but yeah. And then rain came, I misjudged it, went behind Ethan. Ethan defended well, and we ended up where we are.
Fair enough. I mean, you seem to have a habit of sort of answering all my questions for me in this sense. Obviously, in terms of that switch, in terms of the change from dry to wet tires, how was handling that today?
It was tough. Like I knew it started raining. So obviously, when you asked the DM for weather and it says all dries are the fastest tires, you're like, oh, hold on a minute, it might be raining somewhere. And then it started raining set to 2. I was waiting to see what the car's head did, especially like Groomy on people like that. But when they pitted, I thought, hold on a minute, it's not wet enough for me yet. But I think by turn 3, I was like, crap, hold on a minute, I've made a mistake here. And then obviously I had to pick the next lap, which obviously cost me a P7. But it was tough. I don't think anyone really knew when the best time was. I think everyone struggled. Like when I was behind Ethan, you were struggling a few corners. But that's all it is with this. We're running on this game. It's just mental.
Fair enough. I mean, one thing I did want to ask, obviously, looking over, as we did last week, looking over to the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes continues to close in a little bit more on you guys after Dan's second place finish. Is that something you guys are concerned about heading to Canada next week?
No, I think obviously Imrie didn't have the greatest of races. I think he would say that himself. Neither did I. I think obviously I could have done a bit better, but there's still a hell of a lot of races to do. There's still a hell of a lot of points to battle for, and I think Imrie's a quick driver. I'm a quick driver, and obviously Mert are both quick drivers, so it's going to be a fun battle. But I would say that we're confident in ourselves that we can push ourselves over the line ahead of Mert.
Should be a fun one to watch over the course of the entire campaign. Well, obviously, good job on the points finish once again today. We'll come now to who have I got next? I've got JB, who came in with the last point in the end. JB, good job today, mate. Yeah, I mean, things got quite exciting for you towards the end of the race. Talk us through that.
Yeah, better pace in the rain than... I mean, my first stint on the mediums was okay, and then swapped to the hards and sort of just fell back. And then, yeah, once the rain hit, I was actually quicker than the 3 guys ahead, or quicker than Ethan and Curtis. But there were a couple of opportunities to get past Curtis, and I just didn't quite capitalise on them, because, I mean, I knew I was in 10th, and to be in the points, I think for it being only the 3rd time this season, I was quite happy to stay where I was. At the same time, though, I had Imrie catching up, but luckily he got a load of penalties at the end. But yeah, encouraging wet weather pace at least, and then obviously just need to keep working in the dry conditions. Was
this the first time in a race scenario you were using the wheel and pedals in the wet conditions? I was curious about
that. No, would have been Silverstone last season. So, but I think it's the first time this season. So yeah, absolutely, it's a bit of a new experience. I am back on the medium traction now. Although to be honest, I think the wet was when I could actually drive with no traction. So whether I would have done any better today, I don't know. But yeah, happy with my result to come home in the green and get the last point.
Do you guys feel like you can? Obviously, it's a good result for Red Bull today. There's only 4 points separating your 2 teams going into this race. I think that gap starts to open up a little bit, leaving this one. Is that a place you guys can try and snatch back next week in Canada?
Well, 10th's pulling the weight in the team at the moment. So, but if I can keep scoring, the lower points. I mean, I finished in the top 10 today with no reserves ahead, so that's encouraging. And yeah, 10th's doing an amazing job. So we just got to try and keep getting those double points finishes and see where we are, maybe at the midpoint of the season.
V-Club continues to be the surprise package of the campaign. Obviously, good job to both of you guys in terms of the point score today. Fantastic stuff. And we'll come now to your last forward to Obsessed Gamer, who I believe came home P11 at the flag. I mean, the penalty. Yeah, it was Obsessed, wasn't it? P11, yeah?
Yep.
Obsessed, you hear us?
Yes.
There we are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, just about. Right. Yeah, I mean, you were in that train with JB, Imrie, Curtis, Lucky towards the end of the race. Got quite entertaining. Talk us through it from your end.
I was very surprised when it was a dry start. I thought that I read the forecast as a wet start. So, yeah, we had to come up with a quick strategy. But overall, I think the race went really good. Lap one, turn one, that was a fun experience. I was part of that incident of the 3 cars going off. I don't know if you caught that on stream or not. I don't remember who the other 2 were, but I think I caught up to a train quick enough and stayed with them. And then I think I got really lucky with pits and the safety car. So.
One thing I did want to ask you in terms of obviously we've now done 3 of these 100% races as a whole. I just wanted to ask your thoughts on sort of obviously we've run these full races for a little while. How do you find navigating them?
I like them almost better than the 50%, just because you do have the chance to like have some weather change like today. Right, like if we had a 50% with a weather change right at the end, you're not really going to get to see a whole lot of the wet. But today we got 20 some laps, I think, in the rain, and it just makes for a way better experience in my opinion.
Did you enjoy the wet conditions perhaps more than the dry ones today?
I think that they offered a lot more chance for error. And with that, the chance to actually like catch back up and make some time back, which I know I made up a bit of time on JB, partially and due to his battles. But no, I think that my pace was definitely better in the rain.
Well, I'll have to see how things carry on for you. This is your best finish since you scored points in Australia. Canada next week. Is there a chance you can get yourself back in the points, perhaps?
I'd love to see it. I think it's Canada next week. Oh, I am not the biggest fan of Canada, so we'll see how that goes.
All things to look out for, yes.
Yes. Yep.
Right, well, yeah, so obviously a lot to keep an eye out for in next week's race, and that'll be coming to you on the 2nd of February, if my maths are correct. Ben, any final words before we sign off?
No, other than obviously, well done to everybody who finished the race. It's a long race. I would immediately start to focus. Just well done to everyone who brought home in the points, and thank you for giving us some good racing tonight.
True words have never been spoken, my friend. Good race indeed, and well done to everyone who did make the flag, points or no. That'll do it then for coverage of tonight's race of the Racers Driving League, round 9 of season 20, the Spanish Grand Prix. Next race will be hitting your screens, as I say, Canadian Grand Prix on the 2nd of February. Mark your calendars. Same time, same place on the Zach RC channel. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more future audio content. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.